From the grounds of McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts, the Harwich Mariners are back on the road as they're set to face the Hyannis Harbor Hawks for the second time on the season. At 11-7, the Mariners play their 19th game on the season, and after their second walk-off victory last season at White House Field, the Mariners looking for revenge against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Good evening, everyone, and welcome into tonight's game broadcast here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Wyatt Kopelman here alongside Devin Dobeck. We're delighted to have you aboard here for the evening. We'll bring you into the starting lineups here for the Mariners at 11-7 under 20th-year head coach Steve Engler. Batting first, the second baseman, number 36, Jacob Humphrey. Batting second of Virginia, the right fielder, number 26, Casey Sauke. Batting third, the first baseman, number 33, Mason Guerra. Batting cleanup, the left fielder, number 35, Lorenzo Carrier of Miami. Batting fifth of Old Dominion, third baseman, number 7, Kenny Lavari. Meanwhile, Simon Miller on the mound. He deals a first pitch strike on the outer half. First strike number 1 as first pitch dials in at 6 o'clock p.m. sharp. 72 degrees, cloudy skies, winds blowing south at 13 miles per hour. The 0-1 outside, it goes to 1-1. Batting sixth, the designated hitter out of Duke in Devin Obie. He wears number 24. Batting seventh, out of Princeton, the center fielder, number 10, Matt Scannell. Batting eighth, the catcher of UNC Wilmington, number 11, Brian Arndt. The 1-1, a check swing, and it goes low and outside for a 2-1 count here. And rounding out the starting 9, the shortstop out of Texas A&M, number 30, Ali Camadillo. Humphrey leading off here tonight. The pitch, a changeup that goes low. It's 3-1 here to the UMass Lowell product.
And for Miller out of UTSA, coming in with an 8-1 record, 2.30 ERA, he is going to be tough for this Mariner order.
Fastball goes high. It's a 5-pitch walk here for Jacob Humphrey. The Mariners have a leadoff runner on base here to set up Casey Sauke. We'll bring you the Hyannis defense at 4-4-1 here at McKeon Park this season. 9-8-1 overall from left to right in the outfield. Mitchell, Taylor, and Earhart on the infield corners. Smith at third, Kelly at first. The middle infield, Elijah Hainline at shortstop. Bradkey Lowry at second base. The battery mate to Miller tonight is Brady Donay, the catcher of Virginia Tech. Here's the first pitch to Sauke and eclipsed the outer half for strike number 1. Sauke with a dominant night last night. Devin did not waste any time. Had an RBI double in his first at-bat after Virginia went back to the College World Series but lost 2 games in Omaha, Nebraska. Here's the 0-1. Just blooped foul towards the right side, and it'll be 0-2.
Yeah, he went 2 for 5 in his Mariner debut. As you mentioned, had that RBI double. Also scored the game-winning run on the walk-off hit as the ghost runner. So a pretty successful night. Made a name for himself. Absolutely.
Successful throughout the lineup for Steve Engler last night. The 0-1, a fastball high. The throw down to first. Not in time as Humphrey, the leadoff hitter tonight, is back in safely after working a 5-pitch walk. Just underway here from McKeon Park, the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks scoreless. Their second meeting on the season. Harwich wearing its road navy uniforms. Hyannis wearing its home pinstripe white uniforms with a white and blue cap and an orange brim and an orange H across the top. The 1-2 is spiked back behind home plate and will stay there. Breezy night here in Hyannis. The floodlights are already beginning to come on here. Not a near capacity crowd, certainly not a sold out crowd, but the fans have begun to file in as well. Miller out of the stretch, the 2-0. Line into center field for a base hit. That sends Humphrey past second as he speeds his way into third. Sauke will stop at first, and there are runners on the corners still with none gone here in the opening frame.
He just has such a smooth swing, and his opposite field ability is fantastic. Finds ways to hit the ball to the other side. That's his third hit as a Mariner, and all 3 have gone to the right side of the diamond. Really nice job of getting the hands in and then just muscling it right into that right part of the ballpark. And
Devin, you mentioned the sweet swing out of Sauke out of Virginia. Just wrapped up his second season in the ACC. That brings up another hot bat in Mason Guerra. He extended his hitting streak to 4 games and a 1-for-4 night against Cotuit last night. The first pitch from Miller is tapped back behind home plate for strike number 1. Scoreless between Harwich and Hyannis, their second meeting on the season. A leadoff walk for Jacob Humphrey and a single to center field from Casey Sauke has runners on the corners, still none gone. Miller with the 0-1. A slider worked on the inner half, and it goes to 0-2. Hyannis scoring 6 runs in the 8th inning back at White House Field in the team's first meeting. The Mariners took a 3-1 lead going into the 7th inning. The 0-2. A breaking ball, it goes low, it goes to 1-2 here to the Oregon State product. The native out of Beaverton, Oregon, in Guerra.
carrying a 4-game hit streak into tonight. All 4 games he's played in, he's been able to get a hit, hitting .235 on the young season for him.
1-2, bang back into the netting. The count stays there. Humphrey on third, Sauke on first. None gone here with no score from McKeon Park between Harwich and Hyannis. Lorenzo Carrier, the power hitter, is on deck. The Mariners got an excellent night out of their lineup last night. Everyone reached base throughout the lineup card for Steve Englert. Now Miller steps off the rubber to call for time here. We're at 6'3", 197, the right-hander in a righty-righty battle. The 1-2. Breaking ball swung on and missed for strike 3. The first strikeout here for Miller as he gets the starting nod here tonight, and that sets up Lorenzo Carrier with 1 away and runners on the corners.
Took just a little off that 88 on that punch-out pitch, low and away, fell off the table at the last second. Pitcher's pitch, almost unhittable, and that's a really big first out.
Miller at 1-0 on the season out of the University of Texas, San Antonio. First pitch on the outer half to Lorenzo Carrier, a strike with a changeup. Miller going 6 1/3 innings in his debut, looking to capitalize here. The 0-1, a swing and a miss, and it goes to 0-2 here to the Bear Delaware native.
Carrier hitting 184 coming into today, but he does have those 10 runs batted in. Top 5 on the Mariner club, and his production, even if he's not getting on base, is the reason he stays in the heart of this Harwich order. Also leads the team in home runs with 2.
Had an RBI hit and 1 walk in that 3-2 home win against the Kettleers last night. The 0-2 from Miller. Fastball zips low and away. It's 1-2.
Close one there. Too close to take if you're Carrier. He struck out on a lot of those low pitches. We'll see if Simon Miller, that is, comes back with one here.
1 away, runners on the corners, the 1-2 low. Now throw down to second. Sauke taking off, and he's not going to beat that throw as they're now 2 away as the first stolen base attempt goes unfavored here as Casey Sauke is gunned down at second.
Jacob Humphrey was able to score, though, on the throw down, crossed the plate, and gave the Mariners a 1-0 lead.
Now nobody on here for Carrier. A double steal attempt helping Harwich in a slight sense for the first lead here on the ball game. The pitch from Miller, tapped foul towards the right side. Count stays at 1-2 here to Carrier. Rather, it's 2-2. Mariners have employed the double steal attempts this season, and they've certainly been able to profit as they've done right now. It's a 1-0 lead. Pitch goes low here to Carrier. The count runs full. A rising junior at Miami of the Atlantic Coast Conference. In his last 5 games, he brings 2 hits, 5 RBIs, and 4 walks as he looks to win the full count battle here with 2 away, nobody on. The payoff pitch, a swing and a miss. Carrier goes down on strikes in his first time up. Back-to-back strikeouts here from Simon Miller, the starter out of Hyannis. But the Mariners do score a run first. They get 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and leave nobody on. Going into the bottom half of the first, we'll bring you the Hyannis lineup on the other side of this. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Double steal attempt gives the Harwich Mariners a 1-0 lead as Jacob Humphrey, the leadoff hitter, comes across to score. Casey Sauke, meanwhile, picking up his first hit, but back-to-back strikeouts close out the top of the first. And without further ado, we bring you the starting lineup for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks at 9-8-1 on the season. 3 games out of first place in the Cape Cod West standings. Leading off, the left fielder, number 8, Nick Mitchell. Batting second, the shortstop, number 9, Elijah Hainline. Batting third out of Florida State, the third baseman, number 13, Cameron Smith. Batting cleanup, the first baseman, in number 5, Austin Kelly. Batting fifth, the center fielder, in number 35, Will Taylor. Meanwhile, Colin Rothermel out of Kansas State deals the first pitch low for ball number 1 here to Mitchell, the leadoff hitter. Batting sixth, the right fielder, number 4, Zach Erhard. Batting seventh, the catcher, Brady Donay. He wears number 29. The 1-0. Slider low and away. It's 2-0. Batting eighth, the designated hitter, number 2, Trey Lipsy. Batting ninth, the second baseman, number 7, Bradkey Lowry. Quickly 2-0 here to the leadoff hitter in Mitchell after Harwich scored the game's first run. The 2-0, a fastball that runs inside. It goes to 3-0 here. Key for Rothermel here will be able to unlock that 4-pitch arsenal that he unleashed at Katuitt. 3-0 inside for a strike as he stays alive here in the count. And rather getting that start against Falmouth, it was an 8-1 win for the Mariners amongst a 5-game winning streak. A 3-1 deal from Rothermel, chopped over towards the right side, moving to his right, Humphrey, and he can't make the catch in the lip of the outfield grass, and there will be no play to be made at first as Mitchell reaches on an infield to second base. We'll bring you the defensive alignment for Harwich at 11-7 on the season. From left to right in the outfield, Lorenzo Carrier, Matt Scannell, and Casey Sauke. On the infield corners at third, Lavari, first, Guerra. Shortstop, Camarillo. At second, Humphrey. The battery mate to Colin Rothermel is the UNC Wilmington catcher in Brian Arntz. An infield single to start off here, and the Mariners now have Colin Rothermel out of the stretch here. First pitch on the way to Hainline, taken low and away for ball 1 here. So Rothermel out of Kansas State, after getting 5 strikeouts for a season high against the Commodores, unable to retire the first batter as he works out of the stretch for the first time here. A changeup misses outside. Now it's 2-0 here. Key for Rothermel, as I mentioned, unlocking that pitch arsenal that he's shown this season. Starting to see it here, but also just to stay ahead in the counts as well as a rising junior at Kansas State. None away, 1 on. Here's the 2-0. Line foul down the left side. 2-1. Nick Mitchell with an infield single. He represents the Harbor Hawks' first base runner here. Hainline, the 2-hole hitter, up, looking to move him into scoring position as the Harbor Hawks trail the Mariners 1-0 here in the bottom of the first. Overcast skies here at McKeon Park. Second meeting between these two teams. The 2-1. Breaking ball tacks the upper half. It goes to 2-2.
And that other one was a miserable game for the Harwich Mariners. They got beat 7-3, and it was a game in which it looked like they were going to win at one point and then just fell apart. A lot of walks. The bullpen, a really tough day. I believe it was 11 walks, maybe 14.
2-2. Lobbed out until a shallow left field. It's Camarillo moving back, still going back, and he won't be able to make the catch between him and Carrier. It seemed as if Camarillo was due for it as he continued to trail back into left field. Nobody makes the catch, and now there are runners on first and second with 2 quick hits.
And that's just bad communication from Camarillo and Carrier. It looked like Camarillo was calling it off, but then Carrier realized he had to sprint in, and just poor defense for the Mariners. Both those hits could have easily been outs.
The Mariners last night with 6 combined relief innings. The first pitch on the way, and it goes inside to Cameron Smith. Freshman out of Florida State. Had 2 multi-hit games at Florida State this season, 14 multi-hit games as well. Line back into the screen, it goes to 1-1.
And Rothermel's last outing went 3 innings, 47 pitches, no hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts to 2 walks. He was fantastic against the Commodores. Made his debut back on June 18th against the Firebirds. 1 inning, 21 pitches, 2 strikeouts, and a walk, no hits, no runs.
A valiant option, now becoming a starter for the Mariners with Andrew Armstrong departing as the Mariners enter tonight with the 6th highest or 6th lowest ERA right behind Hyannis. Here's the 2-1. Skied foul back behind home plate as it will leave play and get into the seats. 2-2 here to Smith. Runners on first and second. Mitchell with a leadoff single to second. Now he stands on second after a hit from Elijah Hartline into left field. The Mariners ahead 1-0 here in the bottom of the first from McKeon Park. The 2-2. Breaking ball just floats outside as the count runs full here to Cameron Smith. An excellent sense of plate discipline from the Lake Worth, Florida native.
No walks yet for Rothermel, but his control not as sharp as we typically see from him. We'll see what he comes with on this 3-2.
Rothermel working from the first base side. 3-2, chopped foul to the left. And we'll do it again.
And Smith, a very dangerous hitter, can punish you with one swing of the bat. We saw him in the leadoff spot last time at White House. Now in the 3-hole with 2 men on and nobody away.
Hyannis, meanwhile, struggling with RBIs this season, the 3rd fewest in the Cape Cod Baseball League. The payoff pitch again. Curveball misses outside. That loads the bases with a huge walk here for Cameron Smith in his first time up. That slides Mitchell into third, Hainline into second, as Rothermel may have a taller task than what he envisioned.
And this is something that Harwich struggled with just a couple games ago. Not making the plays on defense, and unfortunately, when you don't make plays on defense, you give the other team extra outs, and yeah, really just the story of what's going on here early on in the first. You had a ground ball over to second. Unfortunately, Humphrey lost it on the transfer, and then a ball hit. Bad communication and shallow left. Should be 2 outs.
R.J. Thomas, the pitching coach, going out to have a word with Colin Rothermel. Well, the Mariners this season have the 5th highest fielding percentage in the Cape Cod Baseball League. They've committed 21 errors. Hyannis 8th in fielding percentage at .964, 22 errors. But no errors are on the board thus far, as the Mariners, as Devin said, have squandered a couple of chances to get 2 quick outs after the starter and Simon Miller out of University of Texas San Antonio recorded back-to-back strikeouts to retire the Mariners in the first. A 1-0 lead for Harwich. Bases loaded here against Colin Rothermel, the right-hander. First pitch on the way to Austin Kelly as it goes high for ball number 1. A huge jam already for Rothermel to face as he tries to limit his pitch count from spiking here in the first. The 1-0, a slider clips the upper half. It goes to 1-1 here on the 4-hole hitter. Mitchell on third, Hainline on second, and Smith on first. 1-1 from the right-hander. Pounded back, it goes to 1-2.
And Hyannis, a team who hits a league worst 226 as a ball club, so giving them extra outs early on, not going to help the Mariners.
1-2 from Rothermel, a swing and a miss. Kelly was out in front of it on a slider as there's finally one away here for Rothermel and the Mariners. He picks up his first strikeout here in the first.
And that's a big pitch, another one that just dives off at the end. A really good pitcher's pitch when you're ahead, and Rothermel able to get Kelly leaning.
Mariners were tied with the best team in the Cape Cod Baseball League in the Cotuit Cavaliers after trailing in the first and second innings last night and ultimately took the lead for good. The first pitch on the way to Will Taylor, a slider swung on and missed for strike number 1. Bases loaded here against Rothermel in the first inning of his latest start. Here's the 0-1. Fastball tapped back and off the cleat of Taylor. It's quickly 0-2.
Another big pitch coming your way ahead. Don't leave something way over the plate that can be ripped. Hyannis, a lot of different ways to score with just one away. A sac fly would work. Ground ball to the other side would work. So we'll see if Rothermel's able to use his leverage in the count. Maybe throw away a pitch or two. Make Taylor make the mistake.
And he'll need leverage against Will Taylor, who's still trying to shake off the pitch he fouled off of his cleat. And Devin, he hit .362 with 46 RBIs in his second year at Clemson. The team finished 8th in RPI this season. A strong second half, to say the least, for Eric Backage in his first year at the helm of Clemson. The 0-2. Slider goes off the outer corner. It goes to 1-2. Big jam to get out of here with still just one away in the bottom of the first. The Mariners ahead 1-0 on the Harbor Hawks in their first trip to McKeon Park. 1-2, a slider goes away again, and it's 2-2.
All right, so you wasted a couple, but credit to Taylor for being disciplined and not biting on these nasty pitches that fall down just above the dirt.
Rothermel set above the belt, the 2-2. Lined over to the left side and through for a base hit as it trails into left field. One comes across to score, and Mitchell Hainline is behind him as he dives into home plate. with ease. A 2-run single here for Will Taylor. The Clemson product gets the Harbor Hawks on the board here, and it's a 2-1 lead as the Harbor Hawks find momentum here in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, and that's the two guys that shouldn't be on base. The inning should be over. But unfortunately, Harwich making things more difficult, giving Hyannis 5 outs in the inning. And when you have 5 outs to work with, good things happen. Harbor Hawks capitalizing early.
That's an interesting way you look at it, Devin. The Mariners had 2 putouts in the infield, rather 1 in the outfield and 1 in the infield. On the first pitch on the way, a breaking ball misses high to Zach Erdhard for ball 1. Mariners with just 1 out on the board thus far, now behind 2-1. 1-0. Lofted high down the left field line, giving Chase Carrier as he's going to watch it go over the fence, just foul. And it looks like as if the Hyannis bullpen is arguing that didn't hook as foul as it did. It's 324 down the left field line, 358 down the right field line, just 379 out to straightaway center. As a Hyannis reliever will go on, find that baseball as well. That could have been at least a 3-run homer had the wind been blowing out towards right field. Meanwhile, Colin Rothermel still working with just 1 out here. Runners on first and second.
He needs to have a big at-bat here, or at least find a way to retire this hitter while leaving the runners where they are.
1-1, jammed over towards the right side. It stays in fair territory. Guerra making the catch behind the first base bag for the second out of the inning. So a strikeout swing from Colin Rothermel and a little bit of help from Mason Guerra out of Oregon State, and they're 2 away as Hyannis still has a chance to bring in at least 1 here, leading 2-1.
Big second out. That's just how you draw it up. A jam shot over to first base. Easy play for Guerra. Runners know where they can go. Not hit deep enough, and now you just got to focus on the batter.
First pitch misses high at the letters for ball number 1 here to Brady Donay. Donay, the sophomore out of Virginia Tech, Lakeland, Florida native, tall right-hander at 6'5", 223. Rothermel looks back at second, the 1-0. Changeup misses low. It goes to 2-0 here. Had 31 RBIs with runners in scoring position at Virginia Tech this season as he comes up for the first time and looks to deal a shot here against Rothermel. 2 on, 2 away. The 2-0. A swing and a miss as it bounces in front of Arndt, and he makes a good block. It goes to 2-1. Smith on second, Taylor on first after a 2-run single to left field, and the Harbor Hawks have their first lead on the ball game at 2-1 here in the first. Rothermel brings the hands together, the 2-1. Tap just foul to the left side as Arndt retrieves, and it's 2-2.
Donay, another big guy, 6'5", 223, holding down the catching position for the Hawks tonight. Already threw out the runner in Casey Sauke at second. He's got quite the cannon.
2 on, 2 away. Rothermel with a 2-2. Breaking ball just tapped foul behind home plate. And for Donay, he has certainly learned a lot in his 2 seasons at Virginia Tech. He had a streak of 5 consecutive multiple hit games towards the end of March, and he said that coming into a place like Blacksburg he's not very familiar with, coming from Florida, it's been awesome to lead with Carson Jones and Jack Hurley in the program. Meanwhile, the 2-2 from Rothermel, skied out towards right center field, charging in Scannell, and instead it's going to be Sauke running all the way towards his right as he stepped in front of Scannell to make the final out of the inning. So after the Harbor Hawks get the Mariners into mistakes of their own, 1 in the infield and 1 in the outfields, the Mariners are able to get a fly out from Casey Sauke for the final out of the first. But the Harbor Hawks strike for 2 runs here in the bottom half of the first. 2-1, Harbor Hawks leading going into the second from McKeon Park. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Harbor Hawks 2, Mariners 1 going into the second inning here at McKeon Park. Wyatt Copeland and Devin Dobek with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Due up for Harwich, Kenny Lavari, Devin Obie, and Matt Scannell. 5, 6, and 7 hitters here. The Harbor Hawks getting a 2-run single to take their lead back in the first. The first pitch on the way to Lavari, a slider cut on and missed for strike number 1. Simon Miller on the mound out of the University of Texas San Antonio in his third season. 8-1 with a team low 2.3 ERA. Deals a slider low, and it swung on and missed for an 0-2 count here to Lavari in his first time up. One of the best in the Harwich lineup as of late in getting on base. The 0-2. Bounced foul behind home plate as it goes to 1-2 here. It stays at 0-2, I should say.
Has a team high 423 on base percentage, despite hitting just 237 for average.
Just underway here in the second. 0-2 zips outside as it goes to 1-2. 6'2", 190-pound senior out of Vineland, New Jersey. The Mariners trailing the Harbor Hawks 2-1 here with none away in the top of the second. Here's the 1-2 from Miller. Swing and drop third strike. Lavari down to first, and he won't beat it in time. Third strikeout here for Miller, and Devin, that's 3 straight here off to a roaring start as he did at UTSA this past season.
Yeah, he's got great control, and once he gets ahead of hitters, he's really dangerous, especially with that off-speed stuff. It's so subtle because he takes just enough on it so it appears as a fastball, and then before you know it, you're swinging way ahead of it.
Well, that brings up Devin Obie for the first time here today as he swings through for strike number 1 here against the quick-working Miller. Obie, the rising junior at Duke, now in a 6-game on-base streak here. The 0-1. A swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Seen the change up the slider thus far from Miller. Right now, nobody on base for the Mariners. Victim of 3 straight strikeouts dating back to the first. The 2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. 4th strikeout here for Simon Miller. And after a 2.3 ERA at UTSA, he's already retired here in the second.
And that's just a great pitch. 88 right on the outside. Once again, he's been living there as his put-away pitch, especially against the right-handed hitters. We saw him do that against Mason Guerra, and now does it again against Obie. Quickly 2 away.
First pitch high on a fastball for strike 1 to Matt Scannell. Similar to Obie, a strong on-base streak with 4 games now. A lefty here for Miller to face. The 0-1 lined over towards the right side, off the mound and back up the middle for a base hit. The Mariners with their second hit on the day, as Scannell thought about second on a little bit of a blunder from Will Taylor out in center field, as there's a 2-out base runner here for Harwich to draw on Brian Arndt.
Scannell finally getting back on track, was in a little slump, had like 1 hit in his 6-game span, and now has found ways to find a home for the baseball up the middle. We've seen him utilizing right in between the middle infielders as his place for ground ball singles, and it's been working out, getting him on base.
Now on a 3-game hit streak after back-to-back hits against Katuitt and Chatham. Here's the first pitch to Arndt, a check swing, and a fastball misses high for ball number 1. Harbor Hawks 2, Mariners 1 with 2 away in the top of the second here from McKeon Park. The sun's starting to come out with the floodlights on. A 1-0. Lofted back behind home plate. It'll be 1-1 here to the UNC Wilmington catcher and Arndt. Holly Springs, North Carolina native, someone who has really bolstered the lineup, had that game-winning home run against Brewster in the midst of that 5-game winning streak for Harwich. Meanwhile, he had a pinch hit single last night. Talk about versatility. A runner on first here for Harwich, the 1-1. Lofted high and deep out towards left field, running to his left, Mitchell. He's going back towards the wall, and it bounces in front of the track. That will send Scannell around third. He gets the wave around sign as he scores standing up with a 2-out double here from Brian Arndt as he picks up right where he left off last night. And just like that, it's a tie ball game at 2-2 here in the top of the second.
And that was a bomb. One hopped, almost went on and over the fence. Hit the blue kind of railing area. I'm not sure exactly what you'd call that, but almost jumped right over. And if it did, that would have meant Scannell couldn't score. So a little break from the baseball gods there that time for Brian Arndt, but just a blast in the gap. Really encouraging swing from him.
2-out RBI double, refreshing sense here for the Harwich lineup. Now the first pitch to Ali Camarillo comes down the middle for strike number 1.
And the relentlessness of the Harwich offense to go down swinging back-to-back times to start the second and then a single and a double to tie the game. That's really just something that is going to proved to be very valuable.
0-1, lofted out towards right field with the blind blowing out to right as Erhard camps under and makes the catch for the last out of the top of the second here. But the Mariners strike back. They score 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and leave one on in scoring position in Arntz. New ball game going into the bottom of the second here from McKeon Park. These two teams meeting for the second time on the season, but for now, we'll step away. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Two runs apiece for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks and the Harwich Mariners here from McKeon Park. Crowd starting to make its way in with the tower lights starting to come on, the sun breaking out from the clouds as well. Meanwhile, Colin Rothermel in his start here on the season set to face Trey Lipsy, Brad Keith-Lowry, and the leadoff hitter in Nick Mitchell. Wyatt Copeland and Devin Dobeck here with you as the Mariners take the road once again. The first pitch on the way from the right-hander, a swing and a miss on a slider for strike number 1. Well, Harwich certainly trailed twice in the early 2 innings last night, Devin. They tied it before taking a convincing lead, in a sense, down the stretch of the game. They found a way to win. 0-1, a swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Lipsy out of Ohio State here, not behind against Rothermel with the slider right. Now time called here as Lipsy steps outside the batter's box to reset. Just underway in the bottom of the second inning, 2-2 between the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks, none away. The 0-2. Slider swung on and missed. Second strikeout here for Colin Rothermel as the Mariners have one away against Harbor Hawks here in the second.
And he's fantastic when he's pitching with no weight on his shoulders. His offense being able to provide that extra run on the 2-out rally is kind of made the score 0-0 again. Rothermel gets a fresh start, can breathe, and shows up right there, striking out Lipsy with ease.
Now the first pitch here to Brad Keith-Lowry, tapped over towards the left side. Camarillo fields on 2 bounces. Fires across to first for the second out here in the second. And to consider what Rothermel faced through the first half of the lineup here for the Harbor Hawks back in the first, really starting to settle in, Devin. 4 straight retired and 5 of the last 6 as well.
Yeah, he's started to calm down a little bit, which is encouraging. You're seeing the defense make a play here and there. All good signs, especially with the offense clicking. Already 3 hits through the first 2 innings. If they can keep that pace up, it's going to be a really successful game.
Meanwhile, Nick Mitchell up for the second time. Watches one outside for ball number 1 here. Sophomore out of Carmel, Indiana. 1-0. Grabs the inner half. It's 1-1. Rothermel mixing in the fastball as well as changeup and a slider here. Nobody on here for Hyannis with 2 away. The 1-1. Lifted high and deep out towards right field. Running to his left, Sauke, and it bounces against the fence in front of the 358 marker. Charging past second. Mitchell, he's all the way into third, and he'll stop right there with a 2-out triple. Nick Mitchell leading Western Illinois of the Summit League with a .354 batting average, and he resembled every bit of that there as Hyannis has a runner on third in a 2-2 ball game here in the second.
Yeah, that was a shot down the line and right. 358 all the way down the line, and he was able to get it on a few bounces to the fence. Gave it a good ride, and now Hyannis chance to have the ball game with their 2-hitter coming up.
Brings up Elijah Hainline, sophomore Washington State, as he grounds it over towards the left side. Bouncing ball for Lavari. Steps, fires over to first, and it's in time. So despite a 2-out triple from Nick Mitchell, the leadoff hitter here for the Harbor Hawks, they're unable to score him home as Hyannis brings forward to the plate and scores no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and leaves 1 stranded in scoring position. The Mariners and the Harbor Hawks still tied at 2 going into the 3rd here from McKeon Park. We'll be right back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners keep the Harbor Hawks from preventing or providing any damage in the bottom of the 2nd inning, despite a 2-out triple from Nick Mitchell as Jacob Humphrey, Casey Sauke, Mason Guerra do up here against Miller out of University of Texas San Antonio. The first pitch to Humphrey, a big cut and a miss for strike number 1. Mariners let the Harbor Hawks get on the board and take their first lead with 2 runs back in the bottom of the 1st. Here's the 0-1. Misses low. It goes to 1-1 here to the UMass Lowell infielder, outfielder, and Jacob Humphrey. Earned a leadoff walk back in the 1st here as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks are tied at 2 here from McKeon Park. 1-1, a swing and a miss. And it's 1-2 here as Jacob will have to protect. Mariners have gotten a lot out of the top and the bottom of the lineup. Not too much from the middle of the lineup. Relatively prone to strikeouts against Miller thus far. 1-2 zips high at the helmet. It goes to 2-2 here.
And on his walk, Humphrey scored his team-high 13th run, extended his run streak to 5 games. He's the only Mariner with an active run streak.
The 2-2, swing and a miss. Humphrey falls to 0 for 1 on the night, and meanwhile it's the 5th strikeout here for Miller as he still finds a groove here as there's 1 away in the 3rd. Brings in Casey Sauke, the right fielder out of Virginia. Signals to center field back in the 1st for the Mariners. Had 2 swinging strikeouts to get the Harbor Hawks out with only 1 earned run. First pitch on the way, goes high and inside for ball number 1. Junior at Virginia, rising junior, registered his first multiple hit game with 2 hits last night against Catuit. 1-0, a swing and a miss. Now it's 1-1 here with the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks tied at 2. 2 runs on 3 hits for Harwich and 3 runs on 4 hits for the Harbor Hawks. Mariners have left 1 on, the Harbor Hawks with 3. A 1-1 for Miller. Misses low and gets away from the catcher in Donay. Goes to 2-1 here. Well, Casey Sauke, despite being a small sample size thus far, has really shown that swing, has really timed a lot of pitches well. But he has a long way to go here as the Mariners look to get to 12-7 tonight. 2-1, a swing and a miss on a slider. 2-2 here.
And that slider just falls right off at the last second. It's nasty. All these Harwich pitchers have been caught, or hitters rather, have been caught lunging after it. Nasty pitch.
2-strike pitch to Sauke, misses low. Miller hasn't pitched too extensively this season despite already starting 2 games. He's gone 6 1/3 innings thus far. Sauke up here in a full count. Pitch. Swing and a miss. Sauke strikes out for the first time here tonight, as there are already 6 strikeouts on the board here for Miller in his latest start of the season, and that brings in Mason Guerra out of Oregon State with 2 away.
8 8 outs have been recorded for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks on defense, 6 by way of the K. Miller showing all his best stuff, but the Mariners have been able to tag him when they have been, and that's why this game is tied. But other than that, he's looked so sharp.
Fastball misses high here to Guerra for ball number 1. 2 strikeouts here in the top of the third. The Mariners and the Harbor Hawks tied at 2 with nobody on base. Mariners the 4th best hitting team with a 247 average entering tonight. 1-0 outside, it's 2-0 here. Mariners have found a way to get on base here tonight. They've gotten a walk out of Jacob Humphrey aside from 3 hits thus far. Now the next step is to see how they can accelerate with their hitting. Here's the 2-0. Slider swung on and missed. 2-1.
I think that's one of the nastiest sliders I've seen all season long. I mean, it's automatic with the location, especially when he throws it low. Scary pitch.
Velocity is near 90 miles an hour as well, as the 2-0 bounces low to make it 3-1 here to Guerra.
Bunch of really good games across the league tonight. Brewster battling Chatham in an East Division matchup. 4-3 Whitecaps in the 6th. Katua beating YD 4-1. Katua could help Harwich back-to-back nights if they're able to beat the Red Sox.
Base is empty with 2 away here. Guerra with the 3-1, and it misses low. A 5-pitch walk here as he reaches for the first time here. As there's a 2-out base runner for Harwich. Lorenzo Carrier comes up, perhaps due here to some say, Devin, as the Mariners need to find a way to get on the board with more runs here in the early frames.
He's more than due, especially when he teased everybody with these power hits, extra base hits that we saw him early on in a Mariner uniform. Now has kind of declined a little bit. More than capable of turning it on. Just takes one big swing to get him going.
Slider taken high at the letters for strike number 1. Leading batter in this series, Carrier. 1 for 3 last time against the Harbor Hawks as the Mariners fell 10-3 at White House Field. The 0-1 takes a bounce. Donay with the block. And there'll be no back pick over to first as it goes to 1-1. So Carrier taking Miller, the starter here for Hyannis, to a payoff pitch back in the first, but struck out swinging as he looks for redemption here with the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks tied at 2. Miller ready with the 1-1. Goes high and inside to force Carrier to lean away from the plate. It's 2-1. 2-out walk here for Mason Guerra. He's the only Mariners batter on base right now. He's on first with a conservative lead. Miller working out of the stretch here for the 3rd time tonight. 2-1. Breaking ball swung on a miss. It goes to 2-2. So similar to last night at White House Field, the Mariners had trailed at least once in the first 2 innings. They've scored a run in the first and the second, as Anna looked to do that here in the 3rd. 2-2 bounces low. It goes to 3-2 here. So Guerra, despite showing some speed in his first few games here, not willing to take off for second, but 2 outs as well. Mariners in the Katua Kettleers playing high risk, high reward last night with squeeze opportunities and push bunts as well. Now the payoff pitch from Miller. And it gets called looking on the inner half, just above the knees, as Carrier falls to 0 for 2 here on the night. The 7th strikeout here from Miller as he strikes out the side, a pair of swinging and 1 looking here to Lorenzo Carrier. 2-out walk does nothing here for the Mariners as they remain tied at 2 going into the bottom half of the 3rd here from McKeon Park. We're coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners and Harbor Hawks tied at 2 going into the bottom half of the third here from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Colin Rothmel of Kansas State deals the first pitch on the outer half, but it's too far outside to Cameron Smith for ball number 1. Smith, the Lake Worth, Florida native, reached on a walk back in the first. Pitch. Slider clips the outer half. It goes to 1-1 here. 2-run single from Will Taylor back in the bottom half of the first, giving the Harbor Hawks their runs here. As a 1-1 miss is high and outside to make it 2-1 here. The Harbor Hawks team right around average with its hitting in the Cape Cod Baseball League this season, just hitting nearly 235. 2-1, a slider swung on and missed as it's 2-2. So Colin Rothermel in his third outing, or his third start on the season here, in his third inning, looking for a 1-2-3 job. The 2-2.
Oh, yeah.
Fastball on the outer half as it gets called looking. Rothermel collects his third strikeout here on the night. He has one in each of the first 3 he's pitched, and there's one down here to start the third.
That's just unbelievable. Right on the outside, lived there, 91 miles per hour. Tough pitch to get a bat on without really stepping into it. Tough one to barrel for sure, and Cam Smith just froze there.
Well, as we mentioned, Rothermel not hesitant to unlock the pitches in his arsenal here tonight as he deals a slider outside here to Austin Kelly. Struck out swinging back in the first. Mariners and Harbor Hawks tied at 2 with nobody on. The pitch sails high on a breaking ball, goes to 2-0 here to Kelly. Hitting the cleanup spot here today for the Harbor Hawks at 9-8-1 on the season. Rothermel working quickly, the 2-1. That goes outside, and it's 3-0 here to Kelly. Redshirt sophomore out of Lipscomb, the Leland, Mississippi native. Started the season 1 for 10 here. Now a fastball drilled on the inner half, and it goes to 3-1. Well, he did provide the second leading batting average at .294 for Lipscomb this past season. As he's heading the count, and he watches it go high for a 5-pitch walk. So despite starting off 0 for 1 here tonight, Kelly gives Hyannis a 1-out base runner here as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks are tied at 2. 3 hits for the Mariners, 4 hits here for the Harbor Hawks, and that draws in Will Taylor, who has been red hot, especially having a red hot year after Clemson as well. So that forces Rothermel to work out of the stretch here. Taylor hitting .362, 46 RBIs in his second year at Clemson. First pitch he watches low for ball number 1. 27 multiple hit games after serving as a second-year wide receiver for Clemson football. He is that two-sport athlete. And athleticism has certainly helped at Clemson. 0-1, line down the left field line as it goes just foul.
And for Rothermel, his collegiate high in innings pitch was 6 back on April 10th, 2023 against the Creighton Jays. The longest we've seen him go in Harwich is 3. We'll see how long his leash is today.
1-1 goes down the chute as it's 1-2 here to Taylor. Season high, 5 strikeouts, faced just 12 batters against the Commodores, and that 8-1 win at Falmouth. Check back over at first. Kelly back in safely on the grounds. 1 on, 1 out here. Rothermel dealing a looking strikeout to Cameron Smith. He gets started here in the third as he works out of the stretch with the Harbor Hawks and the Mariners tied at 2. A 1-2. Slider just goes inside the letters as it's 2-2. Some borderline pitches early on here from Colin Rothermel, but he got the benefit of the doubt to get Cameron Smith looking. On deck, Zach Earhart, he's 0 for 1 as well. Rothermel with the hands together. It's 2-2, and it's going to be line foul behind home plate as we'll keep it here. So Taylor reaching on a single to left field back in the first on a 2-2 count. Looking to maximize it again here in the bottom of the third with the Mariners and the Hawks tied at 2. Just 1 away. Rothermel has a ground ball double play opportunity available. 2-2. Breaking ball tapped over towards the right side weakly. Colin Rothermel to his left off the mound. Scoops it onto first in time with a gentle toss, but that slides Kelly into second. And the lead runner is still alive here for the Harbor Hawks, and they have a runner in scoring position as Taylor is out 3-1-3.
Pretty much a sacrifice bunt there. Does the same effect. Unfortunately, just caught it a little off the end of the bat and an easy out for the Mariners. So now just got to focus on the batter if you're Rothermel. runner in scoring position, but Erhard, you got to softly pop out to first back in inning number 1. We'll see what he can do here.
This is Zach Erhard, the sophomore out of Oklahoma State, as he looks at it on the outer half for ball number 1. Popped out to first base back in the first. The Mariners and the Hawks tied at 2. Now with the runner in scoring position in Austin Kelly. Rothermel from the first base side. The 1-0 goes inside as it's 2-0 here. So Rothermel susceptible to falling behind in the counts in his first 2 innings and change here. The Kansas State product needing just one more to get out of the third here without any damage. The pitch. Curveball flies down the middle as it goes to 2-1. Flies might be putting it a little bit generously. That one was moving pretty slowly. Meanwhile, Erhard struggled through his first 7 games with the Harbor Hawks, started 0 for 22. 2-1, bounces away from arm behind home plate as that will force Kelly into third. So a wild pitch here, and the Mariners, meanwhile, looking at a runner in third with 2 away. And the command has to be there in order for Rothermel to be able to go distance here.
Still a chance to get this batter. Counts only 3-1. Just got to throw a pitcher's pitch.
And the 3-ball pitch. Fastball grabs the upper half. Much to this liking of the Hyannis faithful here, as it's going to be 3-2. He dropped the bat. He began to remove the elbow guard as well. As Erhard, the Tampa, Florida native, now have to dig back in here. He thought he had a walk here off of Colin Rothermel with a runner on third in Austin Kelly. 2 away. Here's the payoff pitch. Breakmill misses low. Now Erhard gets his first walk on the night here to put runners on the corners here for Hyannis, looking for a 2-out spark. It's 2-2 between Harwich and Hyannis, as Erhard not walking a ton this season, but that brings in the tall right-hander and Brady Donay.
That's 3 walks now, a new season high for Rothermel. His collegiate season high was 4. Just has had a little control difficulty here.
Well, he deals the first pitch slider on the outer half for strike number 1. Brody Donay flying out to right field back in the first, working with the runners on the corners here. 0-1, runner almost took off, and it takes the outer half for strike number 2 here. Mariners 2, Harbor Hawks 2 here from McKeon Park. Still in here in the bottom of the third, Colin Rothermel trying to work out of a mini jam. Kelly on third, Erhard on first. Here's the 0-2. Now the runner takes off, and it bounces in front of Arndt, gets away from him, as that will score Kelly. A wild pitch here from Colin Rothermel, and it's a 3-2 lead for Hyannis as the command continues to waver here for the right-hander out of Kansas State.
Unforced errors. Mariners would not have surrendered a run if these unforced errors didn't occur. I mean, you think about the play in the infield, the play in shallow left that fell down, and then really bad wild pitch after you're way ahead in the count 0-2. Don't need to do anything too fancy, and went for it all, cost him a run.
1-2 from Rothermel. Breaking ball swung on a tapped foul, and just barely as well. Donay was way out in front of it, but as we mentioned earlier, had 31 RBIs with runners in scoring position at Virginia Tech this season. But in order for Hyannis to take the lead, he didn't have to put it into play at all, and we'll see if he can pad the lead here. A runner on second now, the 1-2. And that's going to pin Donay on the outer shoulder as he wears it on the pinstripes. And now there are runners on first and second here. And to your point, Devin, the command just not there consistently here for Rothermel.
I mean, yeah, they got 2 on. They've already scored 1, and it's been all because of a pair of walks and a hit batsman. Not even putting the ball in play this inning. And, yeah, they're just being able to move runners around. And Mariners, unfortunately, it's going to be tough to win a ball game if you keep doing stuff like that.
Back in, Trey Lipsy out of Ohio State. Takes a strike on the inner half as he leaned away. Fastball from Rothermel as he works with Erhard on second, Donay on first. 2 away here in the bottom of the third from McKeon Park. Hyannis Harbor Hawks ahead of the Mariners once again. It's 3-2. Now the 0-1. Slider floats low and away. It goes to 1-1. Lipsy striking out, swinging on 3 pitches back in the second. Harbor Hawks got a 2-out triple from Nick and Mitchell, were one able to take the lead from that point. Rothermel out of the stretch, just set above the belt, the 1-1. Slider goes away. It's 2-1 here. Lipsy Out of Ohio State, the Southfield, Michigan native, hit over 250 in each of his first 2 seasons at Ohio State. He stayed relatively low in the lineup here for Hyannis. The 2-1 from Rothermel. Fastball tap back up the mound on one bounce. He runs to his left, throws underhand, and in time as he gets out of a mini jam. So a 1-3 ground out here to close it out for Hyannis in the bottom of the third. But the Harbor Hawks take the lead once again. They score 1 run on no hits, no errors, and leave 2 stranded. 3-2, the Harbor Hawks lead over the Mariners going into the middle innings. We're coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The Harbor Hawks retake the lead at 3-2, moving into the 4th inning. Here, Wyatt Kopelman and Devin Dobek with Kenny Lavari up. Simon Miller out of UTSA still on the mound. Turning it over to my broadcast partner in Devin for the play-by-play responsibility.
Thank you, Wyatt. Lavari digs in here on the day, has struck out once. He was the 3rd strikeout victim for Simon Miller. That number now up to 6 total. He's been so locked in. As here comes the 0-1 to Lavari. It's going to miss inside, 1-1. Well, the Mariners with 3 hits, the Hawks with 4, but a few unforced errors and some walks have given the Hawks the lead. It's 3-2 for McKeon Park on what's turned out to be a beautiful night here in Hyannis. Ball and 2 strikes now to the Old Dominion Monarch. Lavari has had a couple 2-walk games, a 3-walk game and a 4-walk game. His previous NCAA high was 3 walks, but he's found ways to get on. That has been his MO here tonight. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the pitch. Swung on and missed. Lavari down for the 2nd time tonight by way of the K. Strikeout number 8 for Simon Miller. That is the most against the Mariners by an opposing pitcher this season. Miller really locked in, and a couple hits that have led to runs are the only thing that has kept him out of absolute cruise control. As Obi lifts this one out to deep left field, going back is Mitchell, looking up. It's gone! Devin Obi with a blast out to left field ties the ball game at 3. The Duke baseball product with his first of the summer, and we are now even at 3. Really put a charge into that one. A beautiful swing for a guy who's really been struggling as of late. Struck out in the 2nd inning and then went 1 for 3 in the game yesterday. Devin Obi, though, what a beautiful swing he was able to put on that baseball, and finally someone able to crack Miller for a long one.
Yeah, he already had 8 strikeouts, but Obi getting his first home run of the season. The Mariners have been without a home run for a short time now. That brings in Matt Scannell as it's a new ball game.
0-1 pitch, misses outside. It's a ball and a strike now to the Princeton Tiger. He singled and came around to score in a 2-out rally back in the second inning. Brian Arndt awaits on deck, also due up in the inning. As another really good slider in down by the shoelaces makes it a 1-2 count. Scannell right over it. Great ball game we got going on here in Hyannis. 1-2. Just up. We've seen a few of those pitches be called strikes, but not that time, and Scannell lives to see another one.
Hyannis is just a really tough team in general to get earned runs off of.
2-2. Misses down in the dirt, 3-2. And that's got to feel so good for Devin Obie to put a swing like that on a baseball. This past season at Duke did tag 3 home runs in 55 at-bats, but that is his first of the summer. As that one is going to be in there. Scannell rung up on the outside corner. Strikeout number 9 for Simon Miller. And there's 2 away here.
Yeah, it's a slider that's really hard to lunge at if you're Scannell. Not only lunge at, but just try and time at after you try and see what you can do with it in the first place, as now a mound meeting is going to occur here.
Eric Beatty's going to go to his bullpen. That will be all for Miller, and not necessarily sure why. He was fantastic. 9 strikeouts. Granted, gave up 4 hits, but yeah, that will be his day. And kind of a head scratcher here in Hyannis. But we'll step aside and take a break. 3-3 our score. Back on the other side with the new reliever. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Call to the bullpen. It's going to be Will Armistead taking the reins here for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. And Wyatt, you made a great point, and it's something that Tom Holliday's touched upon in his interview as far as bringing in players, and it's these innings counts that potentially could be the ending for Simon Miller, who was sensational, as 1-0 count now to the new batter and Brian Arndt. But, yeah, it might have been just a really hard stop inning count that made the move happen, because Simon Miller was pitching unbelievable, as this one's popped up in the infield, called by Austin Kelly, and he puts it away. It's a couple pitches to record out number 3 for Will Armistead. More on him in the 5th inning, but for now we send it to the home half of the 4th. Mariners even it thanks to a Devin Obie blast. 3-3 coming back at you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Devin Dobeck, Wyatt Kopelman along with you as we dive into the home half of the fourth here from McKeon Park. Colin Rothermel's night has ended. He goes 3 complete innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts to 3 walks. Not his sharpest outing we've seen, but got the job done and has kept his team in it as the reins are taken by Jacob Gomez out of Old Dominion, native of Rutherford, New Jersey. 5'10", 190-pound left-hander, misses outside for ball 1. And this season for the Mariners, Gomez carries a 1-0 record with a 6.75 earned run average. Does have one of just 2 saves for the Mariners this season, the other belonging to Aiden Moza. He's pitched 6 2/3 innings, 7 strikeouts to 4 walks, and has surrendered 9 hits. It's a 1-1 count now, the pitch. In there for a strike at the knees, and it's 1-2 now to the batter and Bradkey Laurie. Laurie on the day has grounded out to the shortstop, Camarillo, and he's going to try and do it again here on the high bounce. Camarillo over to first in time. A 6-3 put out for out number 1. Nice play by Ali Camarillo, ranging over to his left and on the first base for out number 1.
It's a really hard ball to read that time. I think it bounced off the mound not once but twice. But meanwhile for Gomez, he's inheriting the bottom of the order here, which Colin Rothmel did a really good job with. Aside from hitting a batter and allowing a 2-out walk back in the third, this is what you need in that momentum to carry here for Gomez as he looks to work on his command.
Nick Mitchell's turn. He's been a thorn in the Mariners' side, a single and a triple for him early on in the ball game. Third at bat coming in inning number 4. As 0-1 pitch is going to miss outside to even it up at 1-1. Nick Mitchell, 5'10", 175 out of Western Illinois. Native of Carmel, Indiana. The 2-1 pitch is going to miss outside as well. 3-1 now. And Gomez has had those control problems, also leaves a lot over the plate. He's not someone who's going to strike out a bunch of guys, goes for contact outs, but we'll see if his defense can be behind him here. As the 3-1 is in there on the middle out away part of the zone, and it's 3-2. Beautiful night at McKeon Park. A little bit sticky here in the air as the 3-2 misses outside. It will be ball 4.
And Gomez, similar to Rothermel, has a strong fastball usage, but he also has that 4-pitch arsenal, Devin, and I wouldn't be surprised if he continued to try and work the corners well with the slider, changeup, and curveball he's exhibited a lot of times this season, but he will go to the slider more often than not.
Elijah Hainline's turn. First pitch to him in there at the knees, and it's 0-1. Hainline on the day has singled to come around to score and also has grounded out to third base. There's a runner on and one away now as Gomez surveys and looks home. The pitch. Swing and a miss. That one really fooled the hitter, and Hainline took him down to a knee, and it's 0-2. Harbor Hawks coming in 9-8-1 their record, 3.5 games out of first place, held by the Katuitt Kettleers. As this one's going to be lifted out to right field, long run for Sauke, and he can't make the catch. It's over his head. Rounding second and into third easily is going to be Mitchell. He takes another turn as into second with a stand-up double as Hainline. He gave that one a ride. A couple bounces onto the wall. Sauke just missed it. A couple inches higher on the bounce, and he had that one, but it'll be second and third now as Gomez hangs one, and now a golden opportunity for Cam Smith.
Probably had to fight off the sun, just not quite set below the horizon line. And now you have to face Cameron Smith here, someone who is certainly due for a hit after getting that walk back in the first.
Seems like Harwich has been tying it and then losing it almost instantaneously, and in jeopardy of doing that right here, as the count's going to be 0-1 to start the Florida State Seminole and Cam Smith. Smith on the day has walked and struck out looking. Comes in hitting just under 300 at 297. Really reliable bat for the Hawks. As that one's going to miss low, 1-1. Gomez out of the stretch, left-hander. Rocks and delivers down in the dirt. And it's 2-1. And for Jacob Gomez, last pitched against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, went just 1/3 of an inning, was part of that bullpen collapse by the Harwich Mariners. 2-1 is swung on a miss, 2-2. It went just 1/3 of an inning. In other words, recorded just 1 out, 28 pitches, gave up 2 hits, 3 earned runs, struck out 1 and walked 4. It was an ugly stat line for him, a chance for a revenge. All starts right here, 2-2. Swung on and missed. Great pitch from Gomez, dropped it right off the table, pulled the string, and that will be his first strikeout here tonight, and it's a big one. Now there's 2 away with runners in scoring position.
Smith a bit fooled that time, just going way out in front of that slider, nowhere near the zone. And it seemed as if, by the way, Kenny Lavari and the shortstop and Camadillo were coming in on that play. Might have been an opportunity for a bunt, but I wouldn't be so sure about that either.
Austin Kelly's turn. He's walked and scored as well as struck out. It's 0-1 now from Gomez, a lefty-on-lefty matchup. Gomez still choosing to pitch out of the stretch. As here comes the pitch. Swung on and missed, up and in. Really nice pitch from Gomez. Now a lot he can do, ahead in the count, 0-2. Couple pitches to waste perhaps. Kelly, the ever-dangerous cleanup hitter, waits, and here it is. Strike 3. Gomez got him. Aren't going to try and chase him down for the tag. Instead goes to first. Score that a K2-3, and it's back-to-back strikeouts to allow Jacob Gomez to avoid the jam after a walk and a double. Put runners in scoring position. He gets out of it. No harm done. To the 5th we go. Still 3-3 here from McKeon Park. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. The 9-hitter Ali Camarillo, followed by Jacob Humphrey and Casey Sauke, due up for the Harwich Mariners. They got 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and 1 in the fourth. Here to make it a 3-3 ball game, being out hit by the Harbor Hawks, 5-4. But nonetheless, still in a tie ball game, and it has been an entertaining one thus far. Will Armistead, the new pitcher, we didn't get to talk too much about him after he just needed a couple pitches to record the out. But he's ahead in the count now, 0-1. This past season at Southern Mississippi, a 43-16 strikeout to walk ratio. That one's in there for a strike once again. It's a ball and a strike now. Posted a tremendous ERA, hovering right around the 2 mark, 2.09 to be exact. The pitch is going to be just inside, and so it'll be 2-1 now to Camarillo. Season high for the pitcher in Armistead in strikeouts was 7. Also has thrown 7 innings as Camarillo takes that one off the left arm, and he's going to walk it off, but that can't feel good. Almost turned into it visibly in some pain, but seems to be okay. He'll accept his base as he grabs at that arm and flips the bat aside. That is a tough one. Unfortunately, his throwing hand as well. We'll see how the Mariners are able to adapt to that. Not a team with incredible depth at the middle infield position. Camarillo's been the one rock, and not a guy you want to see shaking that throwing arm, Wyatt.
Yeah, and it seemed as if he almost took it directly off the elbow, and that's how he looked in such wincing pain at that point. Unfortunately for him, he seems to be okay. That elbow guard is what it's there for, of course, and now with nobody out, you have a little bit of momentum going here for Jacob Humphrey.
So it'll be Humphrey's turn, as you said, Wyatt. He's walked, come around to score, and also struck out swinging. Gets his third AB here in the fifth as that one's foul tip to the backstop. It's 0-1. Casey Sauke out of Virginia awaits on deck, due up here in the inning. As the sun sets back to the left here at McKeon Park, a beautiful little golden hour view. First pitch to Humphreys, lifted way out towards the center field track. Going back is Taylor, and he makes a running catch right at the wall. I tell you, it seems like every game Jacob Humphrey has allowed out to center field, and you can just add this one right to the tally. Got just about all of that, hit it about 370 out to center field, but needed another 10 feet. And he's going to be allowed out number one here in the fifth.
Taylor was on his high horse right from then. It was a good thing he didn't step forward initially, because had he actually done that, it would have been bouncing out that warning track for extra bases.
So Casey Sauke's turn. He singled and struck out here tonight. First pitch to him. He grounds into right field for a base hit. Camarillo is going to be held up at second. Coach Mark Tebow throwing up the stop sign. And maybe Camarillo could give a lesson to Bo Bichette, who's been gunned down twice in the last 2 days.
Well, with Casey Sauke, it seems as if the ground ball contact that he gets off the end of the bat just never dies. I don't know how to explain it, Devin, but it just the backspin it has a lot of continuing momentum into the shallow outfield almost every time.
Yeah, he's got some serious opposite field power, and he's able to just place it so perfectly. Coach's dream when you got a guy who can hit to the opposite side successfully at a consistent rate, and Sauke providing that void that Harwich did not have, filling that void rather. Mason Guerra's turn. He's walked and struck out. It's a ball and no strikes to him. First and second, one away in the top of the fifth as that one misses low, 2-0. Devin Dolbeck alongside Wyatt Kopelman along with you here on a beautiful, brisk night, closing in on about 70 degrees here in Hyannis, right down by the water almost. 2-0 is going to miss inside, and now each runner will advance a station. Camarillo is going to take a turn around third, headed home. Here's the throw, and he's in there safely. Ali Camarillo showing off the speed, comes all the way home from second on the pass ball. Makes Brody Donay look silly for dogging it out there. And Coach Eric Beatty wants an explanation as to why Jeff Merzel ruled Camarillo safe, but regardless, it's going to be 4-3 Harwich.
That was a slider that someone in Guerra really had no business in swinging at, and fortunately, he didn't. So for Camarillo to be able to come across and read it well, and how quickly he was able to come across was as galvanizing as how slowly that Donay actually reacted. Just a tall catcher, didn't really have a lot of speed in getting to the ball, and Camarillo didn't hesitate in getting around the third base bag. Just a photo finish at home plate, too.
And they're actually going to talk this one over. Beatty, not sure if he's looking for an interference call or more of if any of the umpires saw any other answer, maybe an out or whatever, but let that be a lesson to all you.
Donay certainly wasn't blocking the plate. I mean, there was no way he was physically split between the plate inside the chalk. He was well behind home plate, and he tried to make the tag, and it was just too late.
Donay actually provided the flip as the pitcher was covering home, and yeah, they will rule him safe, so Camarillo gives the Mariners the lead 4-3. Some clutch base running that time. And now the Mariners able to take advantage of an unforced error by the Harbor Hawks. I'd say probably the first one they've made tonight. 3 balls and no strikes now to Guerra. And he fouls this one back to make it 3-2. 3-1 rather, excuse me. Lorenzo Carrier awaits on deck. As pitch to Guerra is going to be lined into right field for a base hit. It's down in the alleyway and heading all the way to the wall. In to score easily is Sauki, and Guerra is in there with a stand-up double. Pushing his hit streak now to 5 games. He's been on fire. And now Coach Englert is rewarded for moving Guerra up in the lineup. It's now a 5-3 ball game.
And a lot of moves that Englert has made with the absence of Kalen Culpepper and other important pieces, Seaver King, throughout the lineup have really almost gone unnoticed with how much Guerra has stepped up. Then you also have Lorenzo Carrier still finding ways to get on base as well. And that's going to be the day here for Armistead.
Beatty has seen enough. Call to the bullpen. We'll meet the new pitcher on the other side, but Harwich still threatening for more offense. 5-3 our score. See you on the other side. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Will Armistead goes just 2/3 of an inning, gives up 2 hits, no walks, no strikeouts, and is responsible for the runner in Mason Guerra down at second. New wing will be Matt Maloney, set to face Lorenzo Carrier. Not exactly who you want to see standing in that right-handed batter's box as your first opponent. As that one misses low, it's going to be 1-0. Maloney out of New Mexico State posted a 4.81 earned run average for the Aggies. Surrendered 39 hits in his 39 1/3 innings. The pitch to Carrier is going to miss down low, 1-1. Kenny Lavari on deck, followed by Devin Obie. Mariners have their largest lead of the ball game at 5-3, fueled by 6 hits. Here's the 2-0. Swing and a miss. Carrier wanted all of that, got none of it. And it'll be 2-2 now. Guerra down at second. Big gap back coming for Carrier, a chance to extend the Harwich lead, and that one just misses down low. It'll be 3-2 rather. Someone on the scoreboard appears to be taking a nap up in the box. Payoff pitch is going to be popped up into foul territory. Long run over for Kelly. There is room for him, and he puts it away for out number 2. So Carrier fouls out. He's now 0 for 3 on the day.
He's had a lot of trouble with just taking the pitches that should be his to swing at ever since that rocketing start against Orleans, and also having that 3-run home run against the Harbor Hawks as well. But there's still time left in this one to at least get a hit on the board here for himself.
Kenny Lavari set to get going now. Lavari has punched out twice. In fact, the middle third of the Harwich order has punched out 5 times in their 6 at-bats, the exception being Devin Obie's home run. And now a 7th at-bat to Carrier has gone as a foul out to first base. Kenny Lavari trying to drive in another run. Here's the pitch, and it's going to be just inside for a ball, 1-0. Long look in from Matt Maloney. He comes set at the belt, rocks and fires, and it's in there for a strike. He's got that torque when he comes into his motion and kind of swings that left knee all the way around his body before turning home and firing. The pitch, breaking ball misses inside. Some nasty movement on that pitch, but just not high enough over the plate, and so it'll be 2-1. Two-one pitch is going to be lined into right field for a base hit. Guerra rounding third, headed home. Here comes the play at the plate, and it will be in time. Guerra is gunned down. A beautiful throw from Earhart out in right field, and yeah, that was just about the only way he could put it. Donay with a nice pick on the short hop to apply the tag, and the Harbor Hawks saved themselves a run. But the Mariners strike for 3 hits and add another pair of runs. They've scored in 4 of the first 5 innings. We'll take a break and be right back. Halfway home here at White House. You're listening to the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. First pitch to the new hitter, and Will Taylor is going to be in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Jacob Gomez back out on the hill. Taylor on the day has singled and grounded out to the pitcher. Up for the third time here in the home half of the fifth. Harwich with their largest lead of the game. It's 5-3. Trying to pile it on against Hyannis team, who's trying to get some retaliation offense as this one's lifted in the infield over to Guerra, and he puts it away for out number one. And you think he's practiced those pop flies ever since dropping the one yesterday in foul territory, Wyatt?
I mean, Devin, you cannot afford to whiff on that because Will Taylor is arguably your most invaluable hitter behind Austin Kelly in the cleanup spot, and Taylor already had a hit. Kelly did not, so you're starting to face a little bit of deterioration towards the bottom half of the lineup. You won't be able to make that play.
Brody Donay on deck as Zach Earhart's turn. He's flied out to first base and also walked. Gomez ahead in the count, 0-1 now to Earhart. The pitch. Another similar spot, 0-2, way ahead, and Gomez picked up his first and second strikeouts with a runner on second and third in the last inning. We'll see if this is number 3, as it's spoiled off to the right, and so we'll remain at 0-2. Gomez looking for a clean inning. The Mariners have not retired the Hawks in order once tonight. Best inning was in the second when they faced just 4 batters. There was a triple scare from Nick Mitchell, though. It's ball and 2 strikes now. The pitch is going to be fouled off himself, and so we'll stay and do it again at 1-2.
For Sauke, the sun is only growing brighter during this golden hour. If it's lofted out towards right field, it will be tough. I didn't see him wearing any sunglasses, but he could have some on the cap.
1-2 pitch is going to be grounded over to the third baseman and through for a base hit. It was a tough play for Lavari, just was a half step away from that one. And so it's a base knock for Zach Earhart, his first hit of the day and second time on base here in the fifth now.
Not the hardest hit ball, but still the pull hit on the ground that you need for Earhart. His first on the day, just that seeing eye single. And it was just, as you said, a little bit too far to the left here for Lavari at third.
Brody Donay on the day has flied out to right and been hit by a pitch. First pitch to him is grounded softly over the shortstop. No, it's into left field once again. A couple soft ground balls find homes in left field. And just like that, the Hawks have runners on first and second on back-to-back pitches.
And neither Camarilla or Lavari were closer than one another on that ground ball. They were just about halfway from each other, halfway from the ball, I should say. They certainly found a midpoint a little bit further away from Lavari. And as I say, Sauke at caution out in right field, the ball goes the other way.
Trey Lipsey's turn. He struck out swinging and grounded back to the pitcher, who at the time was Colin Rothermel. See what Gomez can do in his second jam after smoothly getting through Will Taylor. He's now going to have to battle against Lipsey. Designated hitter for the Harbor Hawks. Lipsey comes into today out of Ohio State, hitting just a modest 125. 1-0 pitch is going to miss outside, 2-0. Corners in for the Mariners. Guerra and Lavari playing on the infield grass. Double play depth for the middle infielders. 2-0 pitch is going to be right down Broadway, 2-1. It's nice to see the sun peek out here at McKeon Park after got a little rain shower on the drive over, which was not in the forecast at all. Everybody got a little worried. As there goes the runners. Clear path for Arndt to throw down. Here it is. And he is going to be safe. Might have overslid the bag, but Lavari unfortunately had the throw just a little bit outside of him, and a really nice stolen base for Zach Earhart, who's down into third. Donay did not advance on the play. He remains on first. And yeah, Earhart got just such a good jump. He might have done that on his own. 3-1 pitch coming from Gomez. And a bunt attempt. No, it's going to be ball 4. This is off the plate, a 5-pitch walk issued, and now they're all loaded up.
It's a crafty way for the Harbor Hawks to get their first stolen base on the evening here, especially against a left-hander in Gomez. And the 5-pitch walk not helping either. Gomez ran into a little bit of command issues the last time he appeared, as the Mariners were on the road during that 5-game win streak.
Not sure who's getting loose for the M's in the bullpen, but it looks like Will Pearson's making his way down there. It's a ball and no strikes now to the hitter, and Brad Keylowry. He's grounded out to the shortstop twice. Another 6-4-3 double play would be fantastic for the Mariners right now, as that one's lifted foul back into the netting, and so it'll be 1-1 now. Gomez tapping his foot, comes set, and the pitch misses inside. 2-1, nowhere to put him if you're Gomez, and Wyatt, you said it best. He has had his control problems, although was credited with the win back a few weeks ago against the Katuitt Kettleers. 4 innings, gave up 4 hits, no runs, 5 strikeouts as he gets a swinging strike there, 2-2. Also walked nobody. It was his best outing of the year nonetheless. Got a save on opening day against the YD Red Sox, 2 1/3 innings. 29 pitches, 3 hits, 2 runs, and a strikeout. 2-2 is going to be lifted out into the gap in center field over his Scannell, and he's under it, puts it away. Here comes the tag, and easily coming in to score is going to be the runner in Earhart. It's 5-4. Other runners staying put at second and first, and there's now 2 away.
And that's what you need if you're the Harbor Hawks, just getting the ball in play. You've trailed by 2 runs for just over an inning now, and Gomez still out of the stretch here. Now no longer in a chance here to provide a scoreless relief outing, but you need one more here, something on the ground here with the lefty-lefty battle looming.
Nick Mitchell now digging in, and he has just been having a game for the ages here today. A single, came around to score, a triple, and has also walked. He's been stranded at third twice, so credit to the Harwich pitching to get him stuck, but up for the 4th time in 5 innings in what has been a relatively slow ball game. It's a ball and a strike now to Mitchell. Down at second is Donay. Lipsy's on first. Gomez trying not to squander the 1-run lead that he now has. 1-1 pitch coming from Jacob Gomez. Breaking ball is going to be punched into center field for a base hit. Scannell fields it. Let's see if they advance him. They will. Scannell going to throw on to third, and Lavari has to knock it down. It costs the Mariners a base. And so Hyannis ties it. Not sure how they'll rule it as either a double or a single with an advancement. And so they will. It'll be a single with an advancement down to second. And runners on second and third now with a tie ball game, and Gomez woes continue.
And the Harbor Hawks are just so adept at being able to get the RBIs when they need. They may be 9-1 on the season, but the 9 wins on the season have come from that prowess of being able to move runners.
Hyannis up to 8 hits in the ball game compared to just, I believe, 6 for the Mariners. A 2-run home half of the 5th for Hyannis. They scored 2 in the first, 1 in the third, and now 2 in the 5th. Here comes the 0-1. Bounced in the dirt, and so it'll be 1-1. If you're Gomez, you got to be careful here heading into the heart of the order. This is the 2-hitter Elijah Hainline, who's got a pair of hits, a single and a double, came around to score also, and is grounded out to third. But sketchy territory here in a tie ball game. This one's going to be grounded over to Humphrey at second, makes a nice stop on to first, and it's dug out by Mason Guerra. Great job there by Humphrey to knock it down, and Guerra with a big pick to save a run and maybe more. We head now to the 6th. Whole new ball game once again, 5-5 our score. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. We welcome you back here into the 6th inning of action. Devin Obie, Matt Scannell, and Brian Arndt due up for the M's, who have just blown their 2-run lead there in the home half of the 5th. Devin Obie stands back in, 1 for 2 on the day with a big fly out to left field that at the time tied the ball game at 3 aside. Next pitch is going to miss, and so it'll be a ball and a strike now to the Duke product. 324 down the line in left field, and he caught that one to left center, a blast. As he'll ground this one hard over to third base. Cam Smith fields on to first. It's a 5-3 putout to start the 6th inning. So Matt Scannell now will step in. He's singled to come around to score in the 2nd. He's also struck out looking. Around the Cape Cod Baseball League, some great games. Wyatt, why don't you take us through the Cape Cod scoreboard?
Well, interesting progression in the 9th inning. The Brewster Whitecaps with a 6-3 lead over the Chatham Anglers.
As first pitch to Scannell is going to be in there for a strike.
That has some serious Cape Cod East Division implications. Meanwhile, the Cotuit Kettleers, speaking of which, ahead 6-2 over the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. Just a few chances left for Yarmouth Dennis to come back against the best in the West.
Here comes the 0-1 to the Princeton Tiger, and it's going to miss up high for a ball. And yeah, you mentioned the standings implications. If Cotuit can defeat YD and the Mariners can pull out a W here, they will be back in the driver's seat. 1-1 pitch. Misses up high, 2-1. And really, it depends who you ask on who's in first place right now. Mariners sitting at 11-7. YD 11-7-1, potentially 11-8-1. And if you want to factor in the game that YD has, then Harwich technically is in first place, I guess. But according points-wise, YD sits at the top. 3 balls and a strike now to Matt Scannell. He's already reached base, come around to score. Mariners have scored in 4 of the first 5 innings. 3-1, misses inside, and it's going to be a 5-pitch walk now. Down to first goes Scannell.
2 for 3 here tonight, and a victim of a looking strikeout, just 1 of 9 strikeouts, meanwhile, for the starter in Simon Miller. Probably his best start on the season despite surrendering the 3 earned runs. But meanwhile, almost a little surprisingly, the Orleans Firebirds ahead at home at Eldridge Park, and it's against the Wareham Gatemen 4-0 in the 5th. A long way to go, but the Firebirds started picking up. They've won 6 of the last 10 as well after 2 wire-to-wire losses against the Mariners at Eldridge.
Harwich holds a 3-game lead or 6 points on the Orleans Firebirds, but they have made up some ground for sure as Harwich still tries to re-identify themselves with the loss of such key assets. Back in first is Matt Scannell. He's swiped 3 bases on the season. He's got some speed over at first. Not sure how aggressive Harwich will be, but he hasn't been thrown out yet. Right-hander can get a good jump as Brian Arndt fouls this one back into the netting. And so it'll be 0-1, 90 miles per hour on that pitch.
I'm thinking you maybe give Scannell the green light for a hit-and-run opportunity. The wind's blowing out to left field. The ball would be moving away from second base here.
Brian Arndt on the day has doubled and popped out. Didn't like that one, and it'll miss to even up the count at 1-1. Ali Camarillo's on deck. Harwich trying to get that lead back. They've been able to tally 7 hits in the ball game, which is kind of the consistent offense you need. Just haven't had the defense and pitching today. As Arndt lifts this one into shallow center field in a weird spot. Hainline going back and made a basket catch. How about Elijah Hainline showing off a little Willie Mays action out there in shallow center field, and it's a big second out. Could have been trouble for Hyannis, and there's 2 away.
Unfortunately enough, Matt Scannell read it to where the Mariners wouldn't get doubled up. They've had that blunder a couple of times this season where they give away free outs on the base paths, and as inconsistent as they've been over the last 10 games in trying to just get those outs themselves in the infield, there's still 2 away.
Here comes the first pitch to Camarillo. There goes Scannell. Got a good jump on the breaking ball. The tag is going to be in time. Hyannis started walking off the field as if they knew, and Scannell gunned down for the first time of the season. He's now 3 of 4 on stolen bases, and so that will be the first time any side has faced the minimum. If you count kind of the batter and Camarillo not mattering, I guess. Weird way to put it, but we head now to the home half of the 6th. 5-5 our score. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Colin Caldwell toes the rubber now for the Harwich Mariners as Jacob Gomez's night is complete. He goes 2 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, and a pair of strikeouts to match a pair of walks. First pitch now to the new batter, and Cam Smith is going to miss for a ball. It's 1-0. Smith on the day has struck out twice and walked. Colin Caldwell comes in, making his second appearance for the M's. Through 2 complete innings, once again against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, 40 pitches, no hits, 1 earned run, struck out 3 and walked 1. As this one misses down low, it's 2 balls and a strike now. Caldwell, a rising senior out of Georgia, had a 2-0 record and an 8.31 ERA in 23 games with the Bulldogs. 27 strikeouts, which was good for 14 Ks per 9. 3-1 the count now to Cam Smith. The pitch is going to miss outside. It's a 5-pitch walk to start Colin Caldwell.
And Smith already walked back in the first. This is a Hyannis team that is not prone to striking out really often. Didn't strike out in the 5th as it climbed back in. And it's a choppy start here for Caldwell, someone who really has to just throw strikes in order to at least get some ground ball contact, if not through the air.
Defensive substitution for the Mariners as Jack Goodman goes over to the shortstop position. Ali Camarillo's night is over, and you got to think it has something to do with that throwing hand, as that one's going to be swung on and missed for strike 1 to Austin Kelly. And yeah, that hit by pitch that Camarillo suffered, can't imagine that he would have gone for the at-bat if it was a serious problem, but Harwich probably playing it safe as Caldwell sets and fires for the 0-1 and misses up high, 1-1. Home half of the 6th here, the score 5-5 between the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks. A good one here for McKeon Park as the sun has set behind us. Still a little bit of daylight looming, but we cannot see it. 1-1, fouled off, 1-2. Austin Kelly on the day has struck out twice and also walked and came around to score. Harbor Hawks with the leadoff man on in Cam Smith, and a chance to get back in the driver's seat for the first time since the third inning. Two balls and 2 strikes now to Austin Kelly. Stands in that left-hand side against the lefty in Caldwell. Caldwell out of the stretch, dangles that left arm, checks his pitch comm, and now comes set. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Misses outside, 3-2. Not sure we'll see Smith steal a base here with nobody gone down, but keep an eye on him over at first, as Caldwell will do just that. Throws over, but back in there safely and easily is the runner. Three balls, 2 strikes now. The pitch is lifted out to deep right center field. Long run for Sauke and Scannell back at the wall. It bounces and hits it on one hop. Rounding third and headed home is the runner, and Smith. The play at the plate is going to be not in time. And the Hawks back on top. They lead it 6-5. An RBI double from the cleanup hitter in Austin Kelly.
Well, Smith certainly had the speed on the base pass, but how about a credit to Casey Sauke, just doing a good job out there in center field, or in right center field, I should say. And the throw almost beat Smith to the plate. He could have been out at home. We've seen a couple of good relay throws that have been just barely in time. That one just about 2 seconds behind, if not that. So we'll see how Caldwell works here, still working out the stretch.
Will Taylor digs in. He's singled, grounded out, and popped out. 1 for 3 on the day, as Caldwell still looking for out number 1. I tell you, it has not been Harwich's day on the mound. They've surrendered 9 hits through just 5+ here. On deck is Zach Earhart, and pitching coach R.J. Thomas is going to head out, talk things over with his reliever in Caldwell.
Yeah, it's a Harwich team that's been inconsistent with its bullpen this season, and it's starting to go in the opposite direction that it wanted to, coming into a Hyannis team that had given run scoring in burst in that 8th inning against the Mariners bullpen. And remember, the Mariners had to use 3 different relievers, including Jalen Jones, no longer with Harwich as of yesterday. But the Mariners, I'm sure they want to get out of this 6th inning here, and they can get about their scoring ways and just try and find a lead in the final frames here at McKeon.
Home plate umpire Jeff Merzell is going to come break it up. So it's a ball and no strikes now as we resume the at-bat with Will Taylor. Harwich trailing by a run. They held a 5-3 lead that was squandered over the course of the last inning plus. As 1-0 misses outside and low, it's 2-0. Long game here as we're just at about the top of the hour here, closing in on 8 o'clock, about 2 hours from first pitch, and still in the 6th inning. The pitch misses up and away, and it's going to be 3-0 now. Caldwell coming set, surveys, and here comes the 3-0 offering. And it's going to be inside a 4-pitch walk, and Caldwell not having his best stuff. He's gone a walk, a double, and then another walk here to start the 6th. And this is not the reliever that Harwich needed after surrendering their 2-run lead in the 5th.
Hasn't been momentous for Caldwell. The Mariners not even too capable, relying on strikeouts this season. Fastball has really just not been that present for Caldwell, for a Hyannis team that has been relatively consistent this season with its 2-out hitting and still has none on the board here.
First pitch coming, bunt attempt shown, but it's going to be pulled back as that one ran inside. And An ideal bunt scenario for Zach Earhart. Runner on first and second, nobody away. A lot of ways you can score. It's ball and no strikes. Here's the pitch. Misses outside, 2-0. We do have our first final score as the Whitecaps defeat the Anglers 6-3 from Stony Brook Field. Katuitt trying to shut down the Red Sox. That game's 6-2 in the ninth. 2-0 pitch is going to be fouled off, make it 2-1. Bourne and Falmouth knotted up at 5 in the fifth, and Orleans still leads Wareham 4-1 in the bottom of the fifth. Set for the 2-1 pitch from Caldwell. Another bunt shown, and it's pulled back 3-1. And yeah, Caldwell just not having his best stuff, not seeing any active arms throwing for Harwich. But they need to get someone going quickly as Caldwell in some serious trouble out there on the mound. 3-1. Swung on and missed, and he battles back to make it 3-2. Biggest pitch of the inning coming up for Caldwell. Strikeout would be pivotal. Just find a way to get an out. 2 runners on and nobody away here in the inning. Here comes the payoff. Nope, they're going to check on the runner. Caldwell now steps back on, checks his pitch comm, digs in on the rubber. Out of the stretch now, dangles the arm, comes set. And here comes the payoff pitch. Misses high. Third walk issued now from Caldwell. Bases are all loaded up with nobody away for Brody Donay. And this game has really slowed down.
Yeah, you give up 2 walks and a double to center field. I mean, Colin Caldwell, I don't know if he's going to be staying out here for more than 1 inning, given that he hasn't retired a batter as of yet. His pitch count went up to 40 last time out in his debut.
Pitch counts at 21. He's thrown 22 pitches, and of those 22 pitches, only a minute 6 have been strikes. It has been a tough night as far as control goes for Caldwell. Batter is Brody Donay. 1-0 offering is cut on and missed to make it 1-1. Caldwell, yeah, just trying to find his way. Get through this inning. Harwich loosening arms in the pen. Finally, it's going to be Will Pearson getting going. 1-1 is going to be popped up, foul off back to the right. And so it'll be 1-2. Caldwell trying to get an out. Here's the 1-2, and it's going to be grounded foul off to the left. We stay at 1-2. Donay, the catcher for the Harbor Hawks here tonight. He's got a golden opportunity to score a few runs for his club with a base knock. As Merzell calls for time to give the batter a chance to set up. Caldwell, deep breath, and the pitch. Just missed inside. Arndt tried to frame it, but it won't work out, and it's still 2-2. 93 miles per hour on that fastball, though, from Caldwell. Does have some velocity, just not able to locate it here. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Down goes Donay, and it's a big strikeout, the first of the evening for Caldwell, and there's 1 away.
And I think there's going to be a pinch hitter here for Trey Lipsy. And maybe in the best sense here, this could be a strongly rewarded move here should the Harbor Hawks find some insurance runs. Still only 1 out on the board. Even a ground out gets at least a run home.
It's going to be Eric Snow taking the baton from Trey Lipsy, who on the day was 0 for 2. He did walk, also struck out and grounded out. Golden opportunity to improve the lead. It's currently at 1 for Hyannis. First pitch is going to be swung on a miss. Nice slider that time, 81 miles per hour, and it fell right off And it's going to be 0-1. Here comes the 0-1 to Snow. Swing and a miss once again. 2 pitches in the lower half of the zone, maybe even out of the strike zone, are going to fool him, and he's now going to have to protect behind in the count 0-2. Caldwell looking for a big strike 3 here. The pitch swung on a miss. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night from Colin Caldwell to record back-to-back strikeouts, trying to dig his way out of the jam he put himself in. There's now 2 away.
Starting to throw strikes. Nearly half of his pitches have been strikes thus far, but still has to face Bradkey Lowry, very much due for a hit. Had a sacrifice fly in his last time out.
Bradkey Lowry is going to foul tip the first pitch he sees into the glove for a strike. Did have that sac fly in his last plate appearance. He's also grounded out to short twice. So Jack Goodman better be ready and sharp. The pitch. Swung on a miss, 0-2, and after all those balls we saw from Caldwell, he's all of a sudden not missing the zone. 6 straight strikes. Or 5, rather. Here comes the 0-2. Checked his swing. Did he go? No, so says the first base umpire. And so it'll be 1-2. Almost got him to bite. That would have been a huge sequence to retire the side, but instead going to live to see another pitch is the batter in Lowry. 7th batter brought up for the Hawks in the inning. They have tallied 1 run, fueled by 3 walks and a double. The pitch fouled back. And so we stay at 1-2. Caldwell comes set, ahead in the count 1-2. Here comes the pitch to Lowry. Just missed. That one almost floated right in the zone, and Caldwell throwing his hands up in disbelief, not pleased at all with the no call, and he's going to have to go out, throw another pitch. He comes set, 2-2 offering. Breaking ball in there, strike 3. Merzel rings up the batter in Bradkey Lowry. So despite loading the bases with no outs, the Hawks get just the 1 on the RBI double from Austin Kelly, and they lead it now once again 6-5. We'll take a quick break and be back for the late 3 innings. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Devin Dobek, Wyatt Kopelman back with you. Night is over for Matt Maloney. An inning and 2/3, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, and no strikeouts. Bullpen call is going to be to Darren Horn, and taking over play-by-play duties the rest of the way is going to be my broadcast partner, Wyatt Kopelman. Wyatt.
All right, Devin. Jack Goodman in at shortstop for Ali Camarillo as Camarillo closes out at 0 for 1 as he's up in the count here. As he takes it low and away, now goes to 1-1 here. Darren Horn out of Coastal Carolina, 10 scoreless outings, a 5.6 ERA, however. Fastball on the outer half here to Goodman. Pepperdine product just finished up his freshman season out in the West Coast Conference as the Mariners trail the Harbor Hawks 6-5. The pitch floating low, and it goes to 2-2. Mariners back in the sixth, had the minimum against the prior reliever in Maloney. The 2-2 offering. Served out towards right field. It's trailing into foul territory, and it'll be bounced just past the first baseman in Kelly, who is running back. So Goodman here looking for his first hit on the night. Mariners closed out that sixth inning, unable to score one, if not get a runner in a scoring position, as Matt Scannell was thrown out at second. None away, just underway here in the seventh. Mariners 5, Harbor Hawks 6, 2-2. Skied back over towards the right side. Running to his left, Kelly, and he'll make the catch this time just to the left of the chalk here for out number 1 in the seventh. But you know, Devin, you consider what the Mariners did as opposed to what they lacked against Cotuit last night. They didn't get a run until that walk-off hit in the 10th inning. We're on the verge of a tie. They got 2 runs in the first and second, then got 2 in the fifth, and now it's time to look to the top of the order in Jacob Humphrey as he watches one down the chute for strike number 1 here.
Yeah, they got to find a way to get this offense back. They've been good tonight, but you just think back to the unforced errors on defense.
Tapped over towards the left side, moving to his left, Smith. He steps, he fires onto first, and it's just in time on a bang-bang play. 2 up and 2 down here in the seventh, and the right-hander out of Coastal Carolina certainly cruising thus far.
And to add to that, you think about Mason Guerra being gunned down at the plate. If he had stayed at third, what would have happened the next at-bat? Who knows? But definitely an inning changer, and credit to Will Taylor, I believe, who made the throw out from center field. He was right on line, and it was the right fielder in Earhart.
First pitch, a swing and a miss to Casey Sauke. 2 for 3 here today in his second game with the Harwich Mariners. And oh, by the way, the Mariners in that bottom of the first, they gave 5 outs to the Harbor Hawks. The 0-1, a breaking ball that misses low. That was a great point that you had brought up, Devin. I didn't even really think of it like that because the Mariners had an infield single against them as opposed to a typical ground out. And then a blunder in the outfield. It's the 1-1 skied over and foul to the right side. So it'll be 1 and 2 here to the Rochester, New York native, the rising junior of the Virginia Cavaliers in Sauke. Single to center field back in the first, struck out swinging in the third, and a single to right back in the fifth. The pitch lofted foul back behind home plate, and it'll stay at 1 and 2. 6-5, Harbor Hawks over the Mariners with 2 away here in the top of the seventh. The Mariners led 1-0 in the first. The Harbor Hawks grabbed a 2-1 lead going into the second before the Mariners tied it at 2, and the Harbor Hawks took a 3-2 lead into the middle frames. Here's the 1-2 again. Lined over towards the left side. A roller for Hainline at short, and he can't make the play as he bobbles it out of his glove, and it'll be a 2-out infield single here for Casey Sauke, and a 3-hit evening thus far.
Wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, they are going to rule an error on Hainline as he just, unfortunately, just bobbled it over at the shortstop position, and Mariners will take it. Now a chance to capitalize. Unfortunately, there is 2 outs, but you got a power hitter in Guerra who's already had a double here tonight.
2-out base runner here for the Mariners as it's over to Mason Guerra now, the Beaverton, Oregon native. Looking for his second here today as he swings through for strike 1. Struck out swinging back in the first, a walk back in the third with 2 outs. A double to center field back in the fifth as the Mariners trail the Harbor Hawks 6-5 with 2 away here in the seventh. 0-1, a changeup that misses the outer half. And it's 1-1 here. So for Horn here on the season, already facing the Mariners thus far. He came in late as the Harbor Hawks won the first meeting 10-3 back at White House Field. He's ready, set up the belt. The 1-1 is lined down the right field line, and it just hooks foul. It was over the reaching glove of Austin Kelly at first, and the count moves to 1-2.
Guerra thought he broke his bat, bang it to make sure it's still intact, and he's going to be able to dig back in, but now with 2 strikes, going to have to protect.
5 runs on 5 hits for Harwich, 6 runs on 9 hits for the Harbor Hawks. 2 outs, 1 on here. Horn, the right-hander, with the 1-2. A slider misses low and away. It's 2-2. Lorenzo Carrier on deck, very much due for a hit. We've said it a couple of times throughout the night. Floodlights fully on here. The sun just setting below the horizon here at McKeon Park as the Mariners visit here for the first time this season. The 2-2, runner takes off, a swing and a miss as Guerra goes down on strikes for the second time here tonight. And it's the first strikeout as the third reliever out of the Hyannis bullpen for Horn tonight. Mariners strike out for the 10th time here tonight. They leave a runner on in Sauke, scoring no runs on no hits, 1 error, and leave Sauke on first. Going into the bottom half of the 7th, it's time to stretch here at McKeon Park. The Mariners trail the Harbor Hawks 6-5. We're coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Six to 5, the Harwich Mariners trail the Hyannis Harbor Hawks going into the bottom half of the 7th. Top third of the order here due up for the Harbor Hawks: Nick Mitchell, Elijah Hainline, and Cameron Smith against the southpaw and Colin Caldwell out of Georgia as the first pitch is roped on the left side, foul for strike number 1. Mariners have led twice already in this game, but they have allowed the Harbor Hawks to claw their way back here at home. 0-1. Fastball zips inside as it goes to 1-1 here to Mitchell. Mitchell with a single to second, back in the bottom of the first, tripled to right field back with 2 outs in the second, and earned a walk back in the fourth, single to center field back in the fifth. Pitch, a slider, missing high, it goes to 2-1 here. Mitchell hit southpaw's .364 at Western Illinois this season as he watches the 2-1 creep below the half. That is 3-1 here. Led Western Illinois, the Summit League, with a .354 batting average with 17 doubles. 3-1, spiked back behind home plate. Count runs full here to tonight's leadoff hitter for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Just underway here on the bottom half of the 7th. Hyannis ahead of Harwich 6-5. Caldwell working quickly, the 3-2. Fastball swung on and missed. First strikeout of the night here for Mitchell. Meanwhile, for Caldwell, he picks up his 4th after he struck out the 6th, as there's 1 down here in the 7th. 9 strikeouts for the Hyannis lineup, 10 for the Harwich lineup. Harwich has not been too filled with strikeout prowess this season, but it's been able to get key outs when needed. The first pitch on the way to Elijah Hainline as it's watched down the outer half for strike 1. Caldwell with the 0-1. Taken high at the letters, now it's 0-2. Hainline tonight, 2 for 4, single to left field and a double to right field around a pair of groundouts. He works with nobody on and 1 away. The 0-2. A fastball sailing high as it goes to 1-2. The 2-strike offering. A fastball misses outside at the belt. It goes to 2-2. Caldwell in his second inning of relief here after making his debut, pitching 40. 2-1 outside. Or 2-2 goes outside. It's 3-2 here to Hainline. Harwich trailing Hyannis 6-5 here with 1 away. Payoff pitch misses low on a slider, as I will draw 1 out base runner here in Elijah Hainline, reaching for the 3rd time here today. Meanwhile, the 4th walk surrendered here by Colin Crowell out of Georgia. So after striking out the side, no opportunity for a 1-2-3 job here for Colin Crowell, as he set for a lefty-righty battle here to Cameron Smith out of Florida State. Now working out of the stretch from the first base side, grounded back up the middle on the mound. Crowell hit his leg, and as he gets up and fires to first, an excellent play, a very resilient play as well, as a runner in Hainline moves into second on the 1-3 putout here. So now 2 down here for Austin Kelly, the first baseman, batting in the cleanup spot here today. 2 strikeouts, a walk, and a double to center field back in the 6th. Hainline, the sophomore out of Washington State. Strong jump off of second, the pickoff attempt as it goes wide, and recovering just in time was Jack Goodman at short. So the Mariners trail the Harbor Hawks 6-5 after getting a run in the 1st and the 2nd, but 2 runs in the 1st and the 5th has Hyannis out in front here.
And you know what? The Mariners lucky not to give up 90 feet there after that blunder.
First pitch finally comes into Kelly. The runner takes off. It's a swing and a miss. The throw down to third.
What a throw by Arndt.
And it's not going to be in time.
That one seemed close, Wyatt. What'd you see from your point of view over there? You got a good view of that one.
Well, Arndt certainly had removed the mask in time. But now Austin Kelly behind in the count with 2 away and a runner on third. The Harbor Hawks ahead 6-5, trying to preserve a lead. 0-1 is scorched out to left center field, running back to the track. Scannell, he moves to his right, and he makes the catch for the final out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Well, it certainly had some distance on it, but Scannell was prepared as a San Antonio, Texas native. Keeps it a 1-run ball game going into the 8th inning. The Mariners with 6 outs to go here in the game, as it's no runs on no hits, no errors, and 1 left on. The Harbor Hawks lead the Mariners 6-5 here at McKeon Park. The sun setting vastly as you listen to Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. 6-5 Harbor Hawks over the Mariners here at McKeon Park. Mariners starting to run out of chances here. The middle of the order in Lorenzo Carrier, Kenny Lavari, and Devin Obi due up. The first pitch to Carrier is banged foul towards the right side for strike number 1. A new pitcher into the game here. The fourth arm out of the bullpen in Dennis Colleran here. Stepping on here for Darren Horn. The 0-1, a fastball going off the outer half. As it's 1-1 here, it's the power hitter in Carrier. Out of Miami, the outfielder looking for some serious momentum here to give the Mariners a tying run. Meanwhile, the 1-1 goes low on a fastball, 1-1. 2 strikeouts here today, one swinging, one looking, and a foul out to first base here for Carrier. So certainly due here against the tall right-hander in Colleran. The 2-1. Lofted out towards right field, running all the way back to the wall. Earhart, he looks up and he makes the catch. And it was an acrobatic catch right at the warning track as well. Carrier gave it some serious distance. But nonetheless, he falls to 0 for 4 on a loud first out here in the 8th.
And we're seeing Colleran touch 96 miles per hour on the gun. He has been firing it down. And as you can see, even Carrier late on that one. Almost got all of it, but unfortunately, just a little short.
Now over to Kenny Lavari, the third baseman of Old Dominion. The first pitch he sees, a fastball on the inner half, a called strike just below the belt. 1 away here in the top of the 8th from McKeon Park. The Mariners trailing the Harbor Hawks 6-5 with the floodlights on. The 0-1 just missing low. Colleran seriously working quickly. Just what I remember from last time, Devin, when the Mariners had seen Colleran back at White House Field, a 10-3 loss. A righty-lefty battle here. The 1-1 going off the outer half and well off the glove of Brody Donay, the Virginia Tech catcher, as it goes to 2-1. Lavari with a single to right field advance on the throwback in the 5th, but it turned into nothing as Mason Guerra was gunned down at home. The 2-1. Slam back into the netting. It's 2-2.
Mariners need to get that offense back. It's been a little quiet over the last couple innings, and got to find a way to put some hits on the scoreboard. And they've been hitless since the 5th inning.
1 away, the base pass clear, the 2-strike pitch as it goes low and in front of home plate on the dirt. Payoff pitch looming here for Lavari after he started with a pair of strikeouts. Has been excellent in establishing movement on the base pass this season. The payoff pitch from Colleran, looped foul to the left side. We'll do it again. Dennis Colleran, the senior out of Northeastern, native of North Attleboro, Massachusetts. Didn't actually pitch for Northeastern in his second season with the program this year after going 15 games for 22 innings and 24 strikeouts last year. Now the payoff pitch again as it flies low here to Lavari. An excellent battle that time from the junior out of Vineland, New Jersey. He reaches for the second time today. It's a 1-out walk for the Mariners. And now the go-ahead run comes up in Devin Obi.
Really nice at-bat for Lavari there, making the pitcher in Colleran throw pitches, get that count up early, and get deep into at-bats that will only ruin their composure. Once they can get through batters quickly and efficiently, that's when the rhythm starts. And Kenny doing a nice job to postpone that rhythm.
Fastball staples the outer half here for Devin Obi. Had his first home run on the season back in the 4th. That drew a new ball game. First a pickoff attempt back over at first. And you talk about Colleran having now worked out the stretch for the first time. The second batter that he faces, Devin, he was actually a former two-sport athlete at North Attleboro High School about 30 minutes from Providence. Wrestling and baseball were his sports. As the 0-1 is lofted high into shallow left field, and it drops down for a base hit in front of Mitchell. Off for third will be Lavari as he will reach third sliding, and he'll be safe with runners on the corners. A 1-out lobbing base hit here from Devin Obi, and as they're just getting to, for Colleran to have to work out the stretch, now he's certainly wrestling with runners on the corners and still one gone.
And that was just a broken bat flare that found its home in left field, shallow left field for that matter, and going out to try and make the play was Cam Smith. Kenny Lavari, a really heads-up play as he's rounding second, realized that Smith had left the base and then was able to advance to third before the throw got there, and that's a free extra 90 feet for the Mariners. Now, a lot of ways you can score them, and Matt Scannell always up to that task.
So the Harbor Hawks will conjoin on the mound here after they had found their way back into the ball game early. Took a 3-2 lead into the middle innings. Harwich scored 3 consecutive runs before Hyannis got 2 back in the 5th. And I'd have to think that this might not be the last pitcher in Dennis Colleran as he is unable to get quick outs thus far. The Mariners with their best chance, meanwhile, Devin, and you'd certainly have to think that with the wind being a factor, that the Mariners can look to Matt Scannell to at least shoot one into the alley and to draw in the game-leading run here.
Still down one, still got to tie it, but if we get one in the alley, that would be pretty nice if you can score him from first. And, yeah, Matt Scannell more than capable of putting a charge in this baseball, and we shall see.
Harbor Hawks at 9-8-1 on the season, led by the Cape Cod Coach of the Year in Eric Beatty from last season in his first year with the Harbor Hawks. As the mound meeting adjourns here. So runners on the corners here for the Mariners. Matt Scannell coming up already with a single to center field and a walk here on the afternoon. Lavari on third, Obi on first. The Mariners have led twice, and now they have trailed twice as well. Extra base hits have not been too common here for the Mariners, aside from the solo home run from Devin Obi for his first on the season. Now the first pitch to Scannell, taken on the inner half for strike one here. You talk about how the Harbor Hawks have not been easy to work extra base hits off of this season. They've also gotten right on league average with strikeouts as the 0-1 comes in below the half as it goes to 1-1 here to Scannell.
Colleran touching 97 now on the gun. This is some heat.
The 1-1 from Colleran. Lobbed foul back behind home plate. Now Scannell will have to protect as he looks to avoid his second strikeout here. Meanwhile, Scannell with 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 stolen bases in the last 5 games, 3 multi-hit games on the season. Has a great chance to make it 4 here and draw in at least one to tie it up here as the Mariners trail the Harbor Hawks 6-5. Here's the pitch. Rolled over towards the right side, moving to his left. Lowry tries to pick it up, and he won't do that. Lavari scores across easily as the Mariners have tied it with an infield single here from Matt Scannell, as it might just be an error for that matter. So it's 6-6 all the while, and Matt Scannell moves a runner into scoring position as well in Obi, as it's a new ball game here in the 8th.
They did give him a hit there. Another surprising scoring decision, but you'll take it if you're Harwich. Obi on second, now Scannell on first, and you got a really clutch player in Brian Arndt stepping in.
Runners on first and second. First pitch, a swing and a miss here for Arndt. Double to left center back in the second. Popped out and flied out as well. As now Brody Donay, the Lakeland, Florida native, will have a word with his battery mate. Both teams have gone deep into their bullpens here tonight. Harwich 2 thus far. Jacob Gomez pitching 2, Colin Caldwell. It might not be over for the Mariners relief staff here today. Meanwhile, Hyannis off to its 4th reliever here in Colleran. RBI infield single tying it here. The 1-1, a fastball missing low as it goes to 1-1. Obi on second, Scannell on first on the RBI single to second base. It's 6-6 between the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks. Both runners go. The pitch skied foul back behind home plate.
Hit and run in effect there. So Harwich trying to be a little more aggressive at both the plate and on the base paths. But unfortunately, Arndt couldn't put a ground ball down. And so now back to the drawing board, especially with 2 strikes.
Saw that 2 innings ago as well, where the Mariners got a fly ball instead of a bouncing ball on the ground in order to get a run home. The 1-2. Roped foul to the right side. We'll do it again. Well, the Mariners found a way to work past 2 deficits last night in the early innings against Cotuit. And that way was a walk-off RBI base hit tonight. No opportunity for a walk-off being on the road here in McKeon Park. Tied at 6. 1-2, a swing and a miss. And it's a strikeout here, the first for Colleran after 1 was recorded for Darren Horn. So now 11 strikeouts here for the Mariners lineup, and there are 2 down here for Jack Goodman.
Yeah, just Arndt really struggles on that low and away breaking pitch. And that time got him once again. That's his kryptonite and a big strikeout for Colleran.
First pitch, a ground ball back up the middle. Lowry steps on second, and that's all he needs. Goodman aggressive out of the first pitch he saw, and the ball game stays tied at 6, but not before the Mariners end up getting that tying run, and RBI infield single from Matt Scannell. A huge opportunity for the Mariners to take it in the 9th, but first they have to take care of business in the 8th here at McKeon Park. The wind picking up, the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks tied at 6. We're coming on back here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Six between the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks here in the Mariners' first visit to McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. Caldwell looking for a 1-2-3 inning in his 3rd inning of relief. Here, his 2nd outing on the season as Will Taylor digs back in, the center fielder out of Clemson. The first pitch from the southpaw, boomed out towards right field, trotting back Sauke at the warning track. He makes the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out here, and it was quite the ride from the Clemson Tiger outfielder, but Sauke was ready.
And that's a big one, and we apologize. We just got in trouble for showing the field, so we are going to have booth cam. We're not allowed to have video of the field. Only the home team can, so we will continue our broadcast with the booth camera, but we apologize if you were enjoying our makeshift stream.
Well, here's Zach Erhard as the Mariners make it a little easier for Colin Crowell. The first pitch, a fastball tacked on the upper half for strike number 1. Erhard has had quite the day after popping out to first base back in the 1st. The 0-1 from Crowell, a swing and a miss. It's quickly 0-2. Walked in the 3rd, a single to left field back in the 5th, and walked again in the 6th. Sophomore out of Oklahoma State, a 2-strike pitch. Breaking ball misses high, goes to 1-2. Now Crowell had a little bit of tough time settling in, gave up 3 walks in the first 4 he faced around a 2-run double as the pitch goes low to make it 2-2. Rather just a 1-run double to center field. But Crowell has begun to find his rhythm here, only facing 4 back in the 7th. 1 away, nobody on. Here's the 2-2. Line back into the screen. We'll do it again. And it's kind of been a metaphor, or a particular theme, rather, that the Mariners have looked to out of their starters this season. Colin Rothermel didn't go as deep as they may have envisioned, just 3 innings, 2-2. Low again in the dirt, 3-2. He went 3 innings, 3 earned runs, but he did get 3 strikeouts. So as much as the Mariners have had to look to their bullpen at times this season, it has still been a trying effort from the starters to go as deep. Payoff pitch on the way. A fastball on the outer half as it goes too far here to Zach Erhard, and it's a 1-out walk here as he walks for the 3rd time here today, and that discipline is on full display.
Yeah, that's just a tough break that time to be so ahead in the count 0-2 and then to fall all the way back. Credit to the batter and Erhard to work his way back, but it's tough, and wouldn't be surprised if Englert's going to make a move. He will.
Steve Englert pulls Colin Crowell out of Georgia with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The Mariners are tied at 6. We'll step away for a moment and tell you who the new pitcher is here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. new pitcher into the ball game here as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks are tied at 6 here from McKeon Park in Hyannis, Massachusetts. The right-hander out of Georgia in Will Pearson relieving Colin Crowell. The first pitch on the way to Brody Donay misses low for ball number 1. Donay on the evening with a single to left field back in the 5th, but struck out swinging in the 6th, as there's a runner on first and Zach Erhard. 1-0 misses outside on a fastball. It's 2-0. And meanwhile, for Pearson, Devin, control will be a consideration here for him. In his last outing, he was tackled for loss in his 3rd appearance. 3 earned runs on 1 walk, 1 error, 2 wild pitches, the 3 earned runs. First a pick over back at first, and it's unsuccessful. The runner on first, Zach Erhard, after a 1-out walk. And meanwhile, for Pearson at 6'2", a $177. He has 7 strikeouts to 4 walks this season. We'll see if he can amplify that here with the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks tied at 6, 1 away in the bottom of the 8th from McKeon Park. The 2-ball pitch. Lofted into left field, and it's down for a base hit. It's all the way back to the fence. Rounding second, Erhard. He won't be stopping at third as he gets the wave around sign. Sprinting into home, he will be reaching, diving on a 1-out double here from Brody Donay, the Virginia Tech catcher. Provides the right sense of hitting at the right time, and the Harbor Hawks regain the lead. It's Harbor Hawks 7, Mariners 6 here in the 8th.
Back and forth they go, and yeah, Pearson just didn't have his best stuff last time, and then a big shot out to left field to start him off here against Donay. And yeah, just now Harwich going to be chasing from behind. It seems like they've just not had any momentum. They are able to tie the game, and then they squander it immediately. Got to start to be a little more consistent, and this is going to be a tough one to pull off now when you come up in the 9th.
Well, Pearson with 5 strikeouts and 10 batters faced as the lone reliever in his season debut against Falmouth. But he's yet to get that here. The first offering as a hits batsman is deemed here for the pinch hitter for the Harbor Hawks.
Or intentional walk.
Oh, that's going to be an intentional walk. So the Harbor Hawks now with runners on first and second here after an RBI double from Brody Donay. So Trey Lipsy was replaced. And now there'll be runners on first and second here for the Harbor Hawks. Bradkey Lowry coming up here. Intentional walk. Haven't seen that in a handful of games here against the Mariners pitching staff. The first pitch, a slider that loops down the middle for strike number 1 here to Bradkey Lowry. 0 for 3 here tonight with a sacrifice fly back in the 5th. 2 groundouts and a strikeout here as Pearson continues to work out of the stretch. The 0-1, a slider grounded foul to the left side, right in front of the Hyannis dugout, 0-2. Mariners now trailing the Harbor Hawks again here after tying it with an RBI infield single in the top half of the 8th. RBI double to left field, putting the Harbor Hawks back in front at 7-6. 7 runs on 10 hits for Hyannis, 6 runs on 7 hits for the Mariners. 0-2, a slider floats outside as it goes to 1-2. Well, the Mariners have not gone down easily here tonight, but they're facing a Harbor Hawks team with the 4th highest batting average in the Cape Cod Baseball League. And the Mariners have been inconsistent with their bullpen at times this season. Pearson needing 2 outs here. 1-2, slider, tapped back over towards the left side. Goodman fires onto first, and he's just getting him in time. Jack Goodman, instead of going to second, he fires onto first in time. The leading runner in Donay moves over to third as our runner is in scoring position here with 2 away.
Yeah, and I think that was the right play. He didn't have a play at second, quite frankly, and barely got it over to first. A slow chopper was almost trouble, especially with the speedy Lowry, but now in a pickle once again, second and third, and best hitter in the ball game coming right back up.
Eric Snow stepping in here. Bates on second, Donay on third. Now 2 down here as the Mariners and the Harbor Hawks are within 1 of each other. The first pitch outside for ball number 1. Nick Mitchell stepping in. The 1-0 from Pearson. Slammed out towards right field, chasing in Sauke. He makes the catch on a line out for the final out of the 8th inning. So Mitchell lines out as he falls to 4 for 6 on the evening. The Mariners, all the while, they gave up an RBI double. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on here for the Harbor Hawks, taking the lead back over Harwich 7-6 as the Mariners are down to their final 3 outs going into the 9th inning here from McKeon Park. We'll step away for a moment and be right back with more Harwich Mariners baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Mariners down to their final chances, trailing the Hyannis Harbor Hawks 7-6 here at McKeon Park. A new pitcher into the ball game here for Hyannis. It is the fifth out of the bullpen in Michael Rodriguez, the left-hander out of North Greenville, with 15 scoreless outings this season. Set to face the top of the order in Jacob Humphrey, Casey Sauke, and Mason Guerra. The first pitch on the way, a swing and a miss for strike number 1 here to Humphrey. Humphrey quiet after earning a leadoff walk to start off the first inning. The Mariners behind the Harbor Hawks 7-6 here. Baseball after dark now. Rodriguez with the 0-1. Slider looped foul to the right side. It goes to 0-2. So the Mariners, despite trailing twice in the early innings, found a way to take a 2-run lead into the late innings. But the Hyannis Harbor Hawks have also found ways to get back in this one, most recently an RBI double. The 0-2. Taking on the inner half, a fastball that caught Humphrey looking. He was frozen up. It's the first strikeout here for Rodriguez in his latest relief outing for Hyannis.
Good pitch, just froze Humphrey right on the inner half, and it's a jam shot even if he can get a bat on it, especially at that velocity.
Mariners down to 2 chances here with Casey Sauke of Virginia coming up. 2 for 3, reached on an error on the shortstop and Hainline back in the 7th. The first pitch from Rodriguez. Grounded over towards the left side, rolling ball for Smith at third. He moves to his left, fires on a first, and it's in time. So 4 pitches and 2 outs here for Rodriguez, and he has the Mariners down to 1 more look here, and it's going to be up to Mason Guerra to try and keep the game alive with the Mariners trailing the Harbor Hawks 7-6.
And this is just one of those games that really hurts, and it's not over yet, granted, but, I mean, when you think back to all the opportunities Harwich had, including Guerra being gunned down at the plate, I mean, giving them extra outs, and then just unfortunately not capitalizing, although they haven't left too many men on here tonight. The offense has been decent in the hit department, but just unfortunately back against the wall now. Only 1 out to work with.
Guerra 1 for 3 here tonight as he watches a fastball miss low and inside for ball number 1. Sophomore Beaverton, Oregon, out of Oregon State, struck out twice here tonight. Doubled to center field back in the 5th. It's his only hit aside from a walk. No one on here for Harwich, 2 away in the top of the 9th. The pitch grounded over towards the left side. Hainline from short throws on a first, and it's well in time. Ball game over. The Harwich Mariners drop it 7-6 in what turned into a little bit of a barn burner. 17 combined hits, 7 hits for the Mariners, and 10 for the Harbor Hawks. They go down in order here in the 9th against Rodriguez out of North Greenville. The Mariners fall 7-6 here at McKeon Park, and they move to 11-8 on the season and 7-3 on the road. We're coming back in just a moment to break it down on the Harwich Mariners post-game show, but for now, we'll step aside. You're listening to Harwich Mariners Baseball on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. 7-6 loss here for the Harwich Mariners against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Wyatt Kopelman, Devin Dobek here with you on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network. Devin, the Mariners had 3 different runs, and all the while the Hyannis Harbor Hawks still found a way to win off of a late RBI double, and it came from the middle of the order, and that was all it needed in order to pick up another home win.
Yeah, just a back-and-forth game the entire night. Unfortunately, just more mistakes made by Harwich in this one. You think back to that first inning in which they gave the other team 5 outs. You can't do that, especially at this level. And then, of course, Guerra getting gunned down at the plate. There's a bunch of things you can look to. Of course, a bunch of walks issued by this Harwich Mariners pitching staff, at a minimum, double digits. I mean, I know for sure they have 10, and unfortunately just wasn't their night on the mound. Surrendered some big hits as soon as the momentum was shifting Harwich's way. Credit to Harwich for being relentless and battling on offense, but when your pitching staff's giving up runs every other inning, it's going to be really tough, and the offense couldn't provide enough to overcome that hill, and it led to the loss.
We were wondering throughout tonight's game broadcast how the Mariners' 6 runs or 6 innings of scoreless relief last night would translate in here to tonight. The Mariners used 3 relievers. Will Pearson, unfortunately, not able to hold up as much as you would have thought he might have after a rough start last time out. And meanwhile, Dennis Colleran getting the win here tonight, and he was sensational. Rodriguez gets the save as well, and it was certainly everything you could have asked for in Hyannis, despite Harwich finding a little bit of a spark late.
Yeah, and to argue for and advocate for Will Pearson, I mean, coming in inheriting runners is a difficult task. And I mean, Jacob Gomez, of course, had to come in, and it was tough. He let runners on base and had to pitch his way out of it. Colin Caldwell, same thing. And those guys did their job. It was just difficult. Rothermel, unfortunately, pitched decent. He gave up 3 earned runs, but at the end of the day, his defense couldn't make a few plays behind him. And unfortunately, you know, you win as a team, you lose as a team, and tonight Harwich lost as a team.
Caldwell getting tacked with his first loss on the season after getting up the RBI double. He was brought in. He faced Brody Donay, the catcher of Virginia Tech, as unfortunately the Mariners were unable to find any late answers going down in order in the 9th inning. 6 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the Mariners. They left 7 on base here, Devin, but meanwhile, the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, they capitalized when they needed to, getting 7 runs, 10 hits, 1 error. Harwich, meanwhile, going back to Chatham for that makeup game tomorrow at Veterans Field.
Yeah, and that's going to be a good one. Of course, always an interesting one with Chatham, and you know that Harwich has a vengeance after the 8-1 loss in a game that was, had the fog, and it was their worst offensive game of the year in my eyes by far, and so a chance for some vengeance tomorrow, going to be a good one out in Chatham.
Well, the Mariners looking for a redemption win after falling to a struggling Chatham team, most notably with that league-high ERA just nearing 6.3 once the Mariners fell 8-1 last time at Veterans Field Friday night. Well, we appreciate you sticking with us here on your 4th of July weekend. One final time, the Mariners fall 7-6 here at McKeon Park and 0-2 on the season against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. My broadcast partner, Devin Dobek, and for our producer, Sean Sears, guiding us through the whole night here from Hyannis, Massachusetts. I'm Wyatt Kopelman saying so long, the Mariners. Back tomorrow here on the Harwich Mariners YouTube network at Veterans Field. But for now, we remind you to live the dream where the stars of tomorrow shine tonight here in the Cape Cod Baseball League. Harwich falls 7-6. We wish you a pleasant rest of your night.